we gotta go. I'll get my car. Pull up mine. Yours. I gotta get me one of those.
Hello, and welcome to another episode of Bat Dan's Discussions. So, I just got back from LA, had a great time. The Warner Brothers studio tour was amazing. I enjoyed that, and I got this dope Flash shirt, which is very fitting for the show we're going to have tonight. So, we got two great topics tonight, two main topics, and obviously some subtopics tonight. Ezra Miller and Jared Leto. One of these topics I've teased since March. In fact, we even have the person who I teased this with, ZodWriter. Yeah, you remember Winnie the Pooh, Blood and Honey 2. I said Ezra Miller stream because I was upset about the whole recasting of Invincible. And yeah, it took a while. We'll get into why that took so long, actually. And we're going to talk some Ayer cut tonight, too. So I'm really excited for today's show. So we got SPR Dave, Geek Defense Initiative, Sean Franklin, and I brought up ZodWriter earlier. So again, guys, thanks for stopping by, and let me bring on my co-hosts. This guy, and Sin Havoc, thank you too. Thank you for stopping by too. But anyway, this guy I'm going to bring on, we have a bit of a rivalry. He thinks he's going to take down One Punch Stan, but he is sadly mistaken. So I'm just saying, after this guy tries to go up against One Punch Stan, he's going to be on his knees begging for mercy. He'll learn that you don't mess with One Punch Stan. But I'm really excited to have this guy on my channel again and talk about an event that he went to, too, where he met one of the SnyderVerse actors. So, and also, I'm wearing Flash stuff, and he's dressed for the other thing. So please welcome, as I bring on, Josh Herrera. How are you, man? Just Josh.
Just Josh. Who's that?
The guy that. Oh, right. You're Robin. That's right. You're Robin, not Josh. I'm sorry.
I'm very whelmed by this Just Josh, whoever he is. But yeah, I don't know anything about that. But I'm the boy wonder right here. How's it going, Bat Dan?
Very good. I'm really excited to talk these two topics tonight. Or again, more will be subtopics, but two main topics because both topics I think we're both really passionate about.
Yeah, definitely. And shout out to you, Mr. LA Bat Dan. Fresh from Cali, huh?
Yeah. And actually, we both went to LA this past month, but I just got back. I had a great time meeting Skywalker, Leon, Floyd, Austin in person, actually meeting them in person. And, also met Stino, and I actually met Sky's mom. I met Mama Skywalker, too.
A mini Justice League. Look at that. You didn't invite Robin? What the fuck?
Hey, Robin's never been part of the Justice League.
Well, there's been several iterations. I'm going to channel. This is not anything personally to Leon, but fuck Batman for not inviting me to the Cool Table meetup. If you know, you know.
Right, yeah, you didn't choose not to go because you got a chance to meet Zack Snyder or anything. Which, I don't blame you, I probably would have chosen the same thing if I didn't get refundable flights like you did.
Yeah, had to make sure that the boss, the boss was priority. But next year, there's always next year.
Exactly. Unless there's another Zack Snyder event, but so
True.
we'll see though. But yeah, I'm really excited to be back, really excited to get back into streaming and to get into these topics. So, and what up, Qatar? Thanks for stopping by. Oh, yeah, good point, Sin Havoc. Good point. I would say let's not get too controversial on the stream, but we're talking Ezra Miller here, so. And what up, Socks? What up, Socks? And don't worry, there will be no featherless Godzilla talk on this stream today. Because just saying, Godzilla was a theropod, so he should have feathers. But that's a topic for another day. So anyway, let's get started now. So I kind of want to talk about this. So what happened to the previous announcement? So some of you may know, back in March, I did a review of Winnie the Pooh, Blood and Honey 2 with ZodWriter. And at the end of the stream, I announced that I was going to do an Ezra Miller stream because he had just gotten recast in Invincible, D.A. Sinclair. And for those of you who don't know, because I know, Josh, you don't watch Invincible, but D.A. Sinclair was in one episode in season 1. I mean, one episode that he talked. Technically, he was in 3 episodes, but he didn't have a speaking role in episodes 7 and 8. So he talked in one episode, and he was voiced by Ezra Miller. And then he was in season 2, and he was recast with a different actor. And
whoever that Just Josh is, man, he's crazy.
Anyways, I was upset by that because I was upset. I mean, I respect that Amazon Prime had to make a business decision, but at the same time, I didn't respect why it had to come to this, why that business decision had to be made. And I guess the showrunner said it was because of a scheduling conflict. That's what the showrunner actually said. I'm a little iffy on that because I think what happened personally is that it was because of the allegations, but he didn't want to say that in case something like, well, what just happened, that the tide would change. So he basically wanted to say something that would help them in the short term, but wouldn't screw them over in the long term. So they just said scheduling conflict. Because here's the thing with scheduling conflicts. For voice acting, you can redub lines. Like, Josh, did you ever watch The Simpsons? Did you see the episode? So this was a classic Simpsons episode where Homer moved and he got a better job and the Simpsons family hated where they lived.
I think so, yeah.
Anyway, in that episode, they show a deleted scene where Marge Simpson is actually in that scene. She's voiced by the actress who does Lisa, and it's really funny. It's like a scene where basically they're helping Grandpa Simpson out, but basically the point of that is a lot of times when actors aren't available for the initial recording, they'll have other actors do the voiceovers, and then they'll redub with the correct actors during post-production before the episode even comes out. But that was a deleted scene, so they didn't bother with that. So the point is, with voice acting, if they really want an actor to do the voice, they'll have the actor do the voice. And Ezra Miller wasn't exactly busy with other work. Now, maybe he was busy with his band, who knows? But point is, I was not happy with that recasting. I was upset for the injustice, and we'll get into more of the why later on, pretty soon. But what up, Skywalker? But anyways, the reason why this took so long, basically, this is a very sensitive topic. This is a very serious topic. This isn't like a lot of the other fun topics we have, because there's a lot of very serious allegations towards Ezra Miller's way, and I recognize that. And I wanted to really take my time getting this together, getting this right, because I wanted to get this right, because I don't want to put any wrong information out there, and I want to kind of be as sensitive about some of these topics as much as possible. I mean, I want to be, because this is all very serious stuff, and I recognize that. And since that announcement, we had a recent retraction by one of the people who accused Ezra. So obviously that stream evolved. So this is absolutely 100% the payoff to that stream. And I mean, again, Josh, I guess anything you want to say about this? I guess not too much to say since this is mostly my perspective. But
no, I do. Just to clarify, I did watch season 1 of Invincible, but when you told me about the recast, it did kind of like I wasn't already like I was in a weird spot all year, like watching content. I was just kind of like I didn't want to watch content other than Netflix and Rebel Moon. So you told me about that, and I was like, no, I'm not gonna watch that. Probably I will eventually. But then you talked about doing this stream, and I've been having, as you know, health issues. Shout out to Skywalker. I know he's been going through some stuff too. I have a lot of family stuff, and so I was not available. And as me and you, I would say 2 people who now we are coming. It's coming pretty clear are on the right side of history when it comes to defending Ezra Miller. Shout out to you because you were fired up after seeing the Invincible recast, and you want to do this stream to still further, defend Ezra, not knowing that this retraction was going to be coming. But shout out to you, Bat Dan, for being level-headed and looking at facts. I browsed real quick on YouTube just to see right before the stream who is coming out and covering this retraction. I saw all the predominant YouTubers, the ones in the Zack Snyder fandom, who get drunk, covering multiple topics about Ezra's bad behavior and bad headlines and bad this. Why is there no topic, clarifying what's happening? Shout out to the one person, the Swaggy Blurred, someone who used to work for Collider, the enemy, the Empire, but they came out. Now they're running their own YouTube channel. And I did watch what they had to say because they were basically standing up and saying what's right. Yes, Chase Ironside, the father who had misinformation, took it back. We'll go into this, right? He took it back, the charges and everything. But at the same time, like, look, that's what he did, making these accusations and going into the public from third-party information where there was no merit, and basically essentially trying to add one more, bomb on top of Ezra Miller's bad PR that was happening around the Flash, right? You've sabotaged this man's career. You've ousted him from Hollywood. Like Winston, the Swaggy Blurred, kind of got a good point. And I was like, you know what? He's got a point. We'll talk about the details. Ezra's actually in a band with the person that was accused of grooming, right? The father. They're actually in a band together now. So they're all reconciled. They're all together. They're united. However, something happens. Ezra could, really sue and for defamation of character, right? Because this all affected everything. Yes, this wasn't the only thing. He had some bad headlines in the press, right? Misinformation that you on this channel have helped clarify. Ezra's not 100% squeaky clean, but at the same time, this grooming and accusation charge is a big deal, right? And so I'm glad that it's being retracted now, but it sucks that all these YouTube videos, when you search for Ezra Miller innocent, there's nothing out there. So shout out to you for doing what's right and having this stream back, Dan, because justice is what we need.
Thank you, Josh. I really appreciate that. And thank you, Sin Havoc. And actually, we'll get into this later, but I do have a scoop to cover from our late great friend Mikey Sutton, which, I'll put this in after the stream, but I will put a night shift stream on there because Mikey Sutton even brought up some points. And this is before, and I don't get too far ahead, but this is before that this retraction happened. So, I mean, now that the retraction happened, it's definitely happening now, but we'll get into that later on. But Josh, what you said is this. You brought this up, and I want to bring up why I'm so passionate because, as people know, I'm very passionate about this. And actually, funny thing is, in February, I had an ESD. Basically, they had to go down my esophagus and make sure everything was okay. And it was, but I was under anesthesia. And when I woke up, I was drugged and I said things. And, I had a friend, because someone has to go with you to this stuff. I had a friend to go with me and she did help me fill in some of the blanks. But so this is to the best of my ability, but I did absolutely talk about Ezra Miller. This is happening. But when I woke up, this is what I said. Ezra Miller is innocent. Sell ZSJL to Netflix. Sell SnyderVerse to Netflix. I mean, and this is very deep in my subconscious, and this is what I said when I woke up from anesthesia. But I want to talk about why I'm so passionate about this, because, I want to make this clear. Before this Ezra Miller thing came up, I've always taken issues with the mainstream media lying about people. I've always taken issues with that. It's always bothered me to my core. And I'm not going to get into examples on that end, because that's going to get into some very political stuff that I'm not going to touch. The only stuff that's going to be political on this video is stuff that relates to the Snyderverse. So if it doesn't relate to the Snyderverse, draw whatever conclusions you want from this. I don't care, but I'm not confirming or denying anything. But I guess, then, when these headlines came up with Ezra Miller, I got upset, because even before the grooming allegations came out, like the bar fight, the choking incident, it's like, this is half of Hollywood here. Like, and I'll talk about this more later on, but I'm like, why isn't Anthony Starr getting, I mean, I guess I didn't think that at the time because it didn't happen yet, but why isn't Anthony Starr getting canceled? Why, I mean, when Jared Padalecki got into a bar fight in Texas, why didn't he get canceled? I mean, everyone was saying support Jared. So it was already a one-way street there.
Stephen Amell, same thing. Happened on a flight.
Oh, really? I didn't know about that one.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Oh, yeah. Hypocrisy at its finest.
And anyways, I guess my biggest, and then when the grooming allegations came out, Tokata Iron Eyes, the day of these, it was a day over the day after this came out, they literally defend, I'm going to be honest, I'm going to try to use the they, them pronouns for Ezra Miller and Tokata as much as I can. I may slip up once or twice. Sorry about that, but I'm going to
Ezra doesn't really care. So I've heard it on interviews, but yeah.
Okay, that's good to know. So, and I wasn't sure what official pronouns Tokata goes by. I heard it was they, them, but
I think that is, yes.
Okay, so, that's really interesting, Sin Havoc. And, we'll get into some of this other stuff later, but I guess here's my biggest reason why I'm so passionate about this. I guess, because normally the Snyder Cut, the SnyderVerse, is basically kind of my mental sanctuary. Whenever I got upset, the SnyderVerse is kind of what got me through some of this stuff. So, 2020, I'll say this publicly, during COVID, I was not doing well mentally. There was job issues I had, there was stuff like that, and I normally wouldn't admit that live, but it was 2020. Everyone was having issues. So I'm okay admitting that. But the SnyderVerse helped me get through that. Something to look forward to helped me get through that. So when the mental sanctuary gets violated, it hurts me. It's hard. It's hard for me to really process that a lot more. And I guess my biggest thing too is, I know in the Cell movement, we're not demanding actors return. I know that, I do want to respect that, but at the same time, this is me. I would still prefer all the actors to come back. This is a preference I would have. And I think an actor coming back is still better for Cell than not, because we don't know what Zack Snyder is okay with. So, and actually Zack Snyder has defended Ezra Miller and Amber Heard too. So, I mean, that did happen, and that's in quotes, because the article that I'll probably add post-production had some stuff that is not true, but those were inferences, not quotes. So just keep that in mind. But anyways, right or wrong, Zack Snyder has defended, sticks up for his cast. So, and I guess my biggest thing is too, Josh, how can I support a Justice League? If, let's say Netflix greenlights Zack Snyder's Justice League 2 and 3, this happens. How can I be excited for a Justice League movie when a real injustice happened to one of the actors, preventing them from being in the movie? That's my biggest question to you. How can I support Justice League when a real injustice was involved?
Good point.
So that's really interesting. That's
James Gunn's very TV. We all know that.
Yeah. Good. But, at least their father, when I say their father, I mean their TV father, not their real father, Jeffrey Dean Morgan, is connected to Zack Snyder.
Yes, sir. Hot diggity dog.
Yeah, and actually, Sin Havoc, that's actually kind of another point I will bring up in the next topic, but yeah, exactly. Look what happened to Depp. The thing is, and I've always said this too, I understand there are some people who say, I don't have time to do the research. that's fine. Then don't comment on it. It's really that simple. Yep. If you're not sure about something happening, then shut up about it. If you have a
Option 3.
Oh, I see what you did there. But yeah, exactly. Just don't talk about it. If you're not sure, shut up. If you've just read headlines and nothing else, shut up. That's actually why I don't really comment on Amber Heard too much, because I didn't watch the trial. I just heard the headlines. And so that's why I don't defame Amber Heard on this channel. It's not because I'm like, oh, I support her and say fuck Johnny Depp. No, I just did not do my research. I did not do my due diligence on this. So I don't think it's right for me as a content creator to say, screw Ezra Miller or Amber Heard. I don't think it's right to use my platform to do that. So, yeah, just trying to survive in this world at the end of the day, people. I'm just trying to survive in this world at the end of the day. I'm not trying to fight every battle. I mean, this one affects something I care about. I mean, and I know there's more important issues out there. I'm not stupid. I know there are way more important issues out there. But this just affects something I'm passionate about. This affects my day-to-day stuff. And so, yeah, that's why. I guess I want to pull something up real quick before we move on to the next topic. But I guess, Josh, do you have anything you want to say on this topic?
I think a lot of people, maybe, I don't know how people felt, but let's not forget Ezra Miller, specifically. Ezra Miller, Barry Allen, the Flash, the fastest man alive. He is the entire reason Zack Snyder's Justice League got an honorary Oscar.
Exactly. Right? Yes.
Like, for me personally, my favorite scenes in Zack Snyder's Justice League, I have so many, of course, but number one is that Oscar-winning moment. Ezra Miller, the Flash, Barry Allen, saving the entire multiverse by turning back time. And honorary mention, him meeting Iris West for the first time when you were introduced to him. That scene, the first, probably, I kid you not, Batdan, like 6 or 7 times I watched that scene. Every time I would start crying, tears of joy, because I believe it's shot so beautifully by Zack Snyder. I think Ezra and Kersey did such an amazing job conveying that spark that Barry and Iris have, that love immediately that they're destined to have, right? As far as comic book readers. And I'll be honest, like, when I saw Ezra's look in BVS, I was very like, oh. And to this day, we have not had a comic accurate Barry Allen. Barry Allen's blonde, okay? So I was kind of like, oh, he's going to look like that. And, but Ezra Miller's Flash is the reason I love that character so much now. Ezra Miller specifically. And we can go into his personal life. We can go into all that. But if you start looking at his heritage, what he's proud of, and the art, him as an artist, very much like Jared Leto that we're going to be talking about. I was thinking about it, Batdan. Tell me why artists with such a magnetic power to influence other people, like someone like Zack Snyder. Let's be honest. Look at the cast that Zack has. Henry Cavill, his fans, the power of that man. He has so much pull because of the fans, right?
Yes.
Ezra Miller, he has diehard fans. I don't know if you've ever been to a concert of Ezra Miller or been around. I've ever since coming out and defending the Flash, there are tons of fan accounts that tag me to this day, multiple times a day in Ezra Miller stories and things, that international men and women adore Ezra Miller. Jason Momoa, same way. Mostly women, but fucking love that man. Jared Leto, a lot of accusations thrown about him. We can go into his past and all that too, but as an artist and a performer, it is very, very powerful stuff and something that I go to because it's so addicting and it's so uplifting spiritually. So I think it's interesting that a lot of Zach's cast is people, and Ben Affleck. They tried to cancel Ben Affleck, basically.
Oh, yeah.
A lot of people who are powerful in Hollywood because of the fans, right? If the fans and this person are a threat to the mainstream narrative or what agendas they have, they're going to try to take them out. Ezra Miller, very eccentric, very out there. So his art and his antics used to try to have this narrative misinformation about him, like, it's just an injustice that all of this is trying to be done. Tried to cancel Zach, tried to cancel Henry, tried to cancel Ben, tried to cancel Gal, tried to cancel, oh, I didn't mention Gal Gadot, obviously, with everything going on. Tried to cancel her, tried to cancel Jason at one point even, tried to cancel Ray Fisher, Jared Leto. So it's just interesting that this amazing cast all has the same fight against mainstream media, right? So shout out to you for going up and combating these false narratives, because that's what we need.
Thank you. And, Josh, shout out to you too for even coming on this stream and helping me with this stream, because this is, I mean, again, I'm not stupid, guys. I know this is a controversial stream. I know that there are certain parties out there who, if they see this stream, they're gonna come after me. And, Josh, you're on the stream, and they may come after you too. We know this, but if doing the right thing was easy, everyone would do it. I mean, there's a lot of activists right now who are activists because it's easy, because it's popular, because it's trendy. That's easy to do. Anyone can do that. What we're doing right now is we're fighting against the actual narrative out there. It's not popular to defend Ezra Miller right now, because there's a certain person who went after Ezra Miller, and I'm going to show this image. I took this, at the WB studio tour, I took this image, and I wanted to put it on the thumbnail, but I figured YouTube might not like me putting it on the thumbnail. So we're going to just show the Twitter post that I have. So as you can see right here, as you may know, this is Ayer Ray. She is famous right now for Madam President on Barbie. And she spoke out about Ezra Miller and actually said that she normally doesn't comment on things that she's not aware of. But her big argument, Josh, was listen to women. Now, I want to make this clear before I get in the comments. We're not actually going to start a debate on whether or not the right argument is listen to women. Okay, that's actually not what we're saying in this stream. I'm talking about in this very specific instant, mind you, this very instance, that is not the argument you use if you want to condemn Ezra Miller, because the women in question defended Ezra Miller. Tokata Ironize, Anna Rosa, both defended Ezra Miller, and Ayer Ray silenced their voices. That is what you, Ayer Ray, if you're watching, did. She talked all about listen to women, and I think she even at one point talked about how she's a brave black woman speaking out. That's what she said. That's what she says. I don't like to identify people at their race. That's what she said. And I'm like, okay, you're so brave, black woman, but you're such a brave black woman, yet you're silencing women of color when they speak out about what actually happened. I don't appreciate disingenuous fake like that. And that's why I do not respect Ayer Ray. I do not respect her as a person, because I'll take this down now, because at the end of the day, I hold celebrities to a higher standard than I hold the average Joe, because they should know more. Oh, that's really interesting, Sin Havoc.
Interesting.
And, I'm just saying there are some certain Ezra accounts trying to defend James Gunn. Guys, Gunn's not the one you want to defend for Ezra Miller. Okay, I'm saying that right now. Gunn is not the one to defend for Ezra Miller. But anyways, Ezra Miller did everything that Ayer Ray pretends to care about, or that she claims to care about, I should say. That everything that Ayer Ray claims to care about, Ezra Miller did. Ezra Miller saved 2 people of color from abusive situations and paid the price for it. Yep. That is what happened. Okay? And that disgusts me because I appreciate real action. I will always appreciate real action over fake activism. And what up, Skywalker? Wait, you were here earlier, but that's a good point. Hold my DualShock. Thanks for stopping by. And don't worry, we'll get into the other topic later on in the stream. But whatever, much love to you guys, no matter what we talk about. So, yeah, and I agree, Sin Havoc. I do think Ezra Miller does need to be careful who he associates with, but, that doesn't, but I'm still going to do my part to defend what happened. I mean, whether or not Ezra Miller should have gotten involved in certain situations, that doesn't mean that Ezra deserves what happened. So, but that's why, again, I call Isa Rae out, because I do not respect her as a person for what she said. Because she literally said she didn't know the situation. You shouldn't be commenting on that. And I think what happened is, I think her show Insecure got canceled on HBO Max, so I think she was butthurt about that. So she went after Ezra Miller. But that's what I'm saying. No, that's why, again, Isa Rae as a person, I will never respect. But anyway, I'm kind of ranting and so on. Before we move on to the next topic, Josh, anything you want to say about what I just covered?
Option 3 is a great option. That's all I'll say about that.
Exactly. And again, I know that post may have seemed immature. Well, I get what you're saying, Sin Havoc, and when I say higher standards, what I mean is when they speak out on stuff. That's what I mean. I'm not saying if celebrities take accountability and make mistakes, that's different. Okay, that's different. What I'm saying though is that celebrities should, and maybe I worded that wrong. Celebrities should know more about some of the stuff that's going on than the average Joe. So someone like Isa Rae should know more about what actually happened with Ezra Miller than someone like you or me.
Oh, damn. Now,
I didn't even know about this show, and
I was going to watch it. I had tons of people telling me, and then after all this came out, I was like, I'm good.
I mean, I'm not going to touch that one too much. I already touched enough about skin color as it is, and we're not saying how things should be. I'm just being realistic with how things are. I don't want to, I'm not going to touch too much on that. I'll just say that. But I mean, I do. People should. Yeah, I'm sorry, Sin Havoc. I didn't mean that she should be blamed more. I'm just saying she should know more. So that's what I meant. So anyway, we have a lot to cover. So I think I said everything I need to say. It's Issa, like in Rebel. Oh, Issa. Okay, Issa Rae. Okay, thank you.
I didn't want to correct him back. I didn't want to correct Bat Dan Sky.
You can correct me. It's okay. You can definitely correct me, Issa Rae. But yeah, I don't. Again,
she's no Issa.
Issa Rae. Again, if you're watching, do better. Do better as a human being, because unfortunately, what you do has more consequence than what other people do. And we'll actually get into that with Ezra Miller too. By the way, we'll get into that same. I'm sorry, we were saying, Josh.
No, shout out to you for saying that, Bat Dan, because I literally. I think I told you I'm in a group of Comic-Con friends. It's probably at this point it was 80 people, and at this point it's probably 100 people chat. And there were a lot of people prior to the Flash coming out that were just haters, straight up haters of Ezra, and used this, these headlines to be like, this disgusting person, blah, blah, blah. Exactly what you just said. I put the article, and I put everyone who believed in the false lies about Ezra and all these accusations that you guys used as your reason for boycotting the Flash, do better. So I literally said the exact same thing. And a lot of people, there was this one asshat who always fucking hates everything Zack Snyder, who was arguing with all the other people who kind of were starting to defend Ezra. And so it started this whole, I literally was in there. I had a lot of stuff going on in my personal life. So I just popped that in the group chat, left. And then there was 30 messages later of people fighting back and forth, this one guy. And then so you gotta, put these things in perspective, Batman. And you can't let all these influencers and YouTubers get a hold of these, false headlines just for clicks and content. And then them not do their due diligence to come and correct it, right? It's just so disingenuous. It shows what they're really about. They're just there for content. They're just there for YouTube's. Oh, it's hot. Oh, let's dogpile on Ezra Miller. And now when it comes out that none of this was true, they're silent. Okay, now you're going to choose option 3, motherfuckers.
and again, like I said, people with the platform, I do not respect doing stuff like this because I'm sorry, if you are defaming Ezra Miller and then when the truth comes out, you're saying nothing, as far as I'm concerned, you are evil. I guess to wrap this up, because we do have to kind of move on because there's a lot we have to talk about. Your name is the most important thing I think you can have because that lives on you after you die. So I think if you defame someone, that is one of the worst civil things I'll say, worst non-lethal things I'll say that you can do to someone. Like worst non-physical thing. I'll put it like that. That's where I want to use. One of the worst non-physical things you can do to someone. Because you ruin the reputation. You carry it on after death. And YouTubers, to me, they have a responsibility to report the truth. If I say something incorrect, please correct me, guys. I will do a video. I will retract what I said. I'm happy to do that. But show me a source. Don't just say because I said so. And I will. So, yeah. So, guys, I'm just saying, please, if you don't know, shut up. If you do know and you get it wrong later on, comment. It's okay to say I was wrong. I mean, adapting your stance on someone as information comes out, it's called being mature. Because that happens all the time. I mean, there's other actors that a lot of, like people, Joss Whedon, a lot of people love Joss Whedon. And I'm sure pre-Ray Fisher, I'm sure a lot of people defended Joss Whedon and said, oh, he's such a great actor or great director. He's such a great guy. And then when information came out, they retracted. That's okay. That's how life is. People, we can't change the past. So just do better correcting the future. So that's what I'll say to that because we got to move on. And no, just Josh is going to lose socks. So
who's that?
Someone who looks a lot like you. I'll say that. Someone who looks and sounds a lot like, or I guess maybe more sounds like you than looks like you. But anyway, now, the big reason why this is relevant now. Chase Iron Eyes retracts the statement, and
my
what
partner.
Bishop?
Oh, I mean that guy's partner.
Exactly, Sin Havoc. Exactly. So now I'm going to hold on. I'm going to try to share this again. Okay, so I'm going to pull this up here. So Chase Iron Eyes, he's the one who said that Ezra Miller groomed his daughter. That is what he said. This is the accusation he made. Takada denied it, and people ignored. But now, we'll kind of talk, but read this statement as we talk. But basically, he says, he said basically kind of the main thing I want to really go in here is that he said that he made the statement pleading in time based on information from a witness who is then recanted and said nothing happened, that they could infer anything inappropriate. Thus, I immediately withdrew the court filings. Very interesting here. Mm-hmm. So Chase Iron Eyes is saying, now we're doing our best to move on to reconcile the heel.
Yeah. So made those claims from hearsay, basically.
Exactly. And why it took so long for him to speak out on this, we'll never know, right? But here's the thing I will say. As many issues I have Chase Iron Eyes even speaking about this at all, I give him credit for admitting that he was wrong. And okay, the Issa Gay against Issa Gay. I mean, I guess you guys can kind of figure out now who Issa Gay is based on, but... Oh, ZodWriter, Skywalker was looking for you earlier. He said this publicly in the chat. So, anyway, where was I? Yeah. So, he at least admitted he was wrong. Okay, and I give him full credit for doing that, and he's doing his best to reconcile. But the funny thing, Josh, there are still people trying to say that Ezra Miller's groomed her. They're like saying that Chase Iron Eyes was paid. That Chase Iron Eyes was paid. And there's so many issues I have with this logic. Okay, first of all, people were trying to say that Takada's parents were just worried about. That's what they were saying. That was the big argument that all these people jumped to conclusion were using. Well, if that's really the case, why are you, if you're this loving parent, why is money okay that someone violated your daughter? If you're a loving parent,
Yeah.
and actually, yep. Hold my DualShock. That is a good question, and actually, I'll put a link in the chat. I wasn't gonna do this put this person in initially because a lot of us, including myself, have issues with this person, but I think I am gonna still put this in the description because regardless of any issues I have with this person, he did a good interview with the person who made the allegations and said they lied. And I think that's more important than whatever drama we all have with this person. That's what I'm going to say to that. So if you see this person in the description, I mean, there's already someone else actually like that is already in the description, but this is more important. This is more important than whatever petty drama we have. So that's actually a good question, Hold My DualShock. So I'll put that on there. But people are saying, and then here's the other thing, Josh, what I'm hearing, is that Warner Brothers paid Chase. Warner Brothers paid Chase is the accusation. Okay, I have a question for you. Why would Warner Brothers, this company that's in debt right now, waste money when they're not even moving forward with Ezra Miller? I'm going to say this again. Warner Brothers Discovery, at this point in time, is not moving forward with Ezra Miller. Why would they waste money to try to clear wrongly try to clear Ezra Miller's name? And I'm saying in this wrongly because in this hypothetical scenario, if they're not moving forward with Ezra Miller.
Good question.
And then the other accusation is Ezra paid them. That's the other accusation, is that Ezra paid them. And I mean, look, I'm not going to lie. I don't have any real evidence that Ezra did not pay this person, but at the end of the day, it's innocent till proven guilty, not guilty till proven innocent. And again, there's still the issue of Chase Iron Eyes. If Chase Iron Eyes was very angry at, I mean, yes, Sin Havoc, but what behind are they covering here? The movie flopped. If they were going to do that was the time to do that was before The Flash came out, not after. So, but anyways, my point is, again, if Chase Iron Eyes is this loving father, then why is he so easily bought? Plus, Ezra Miller, I think, is worth like $4 million. That's why I read $4 million. Okay, I really got to research to decide what I'm going to talk about. I got a lot of links to add in post-production, but I'll add them, don't worry. But that's my big question. And also, again, Takada Iron Eyes already said that this didn't happen. Okay? I mean, it's a lot of mental gymnastics people are playing to try to make Ezra guilty. And then my question is, it's like you guys want this to be true. You guys want this to be true. Like, why? You want a minor to have been groomed by a person. You want that to have happened. And honestly, I find that pretty disgusting, Josh. I really do.
I'm just going to throw it out there. Ezra's a very proud of him and his family's Jewish heritage. So just throwing that out there.
Yeah. Oh, that's actually a really good point, because that's actually going to kind of cover some stuff later on. But I went on, Josh. So I went on my little rant. So I guess, what do you say to everything that I just kind of covered, and anything you want to add?
Well, for those who don't know, Ezra Miller has been nothing but consistent as an artist, as an artist, entrepreneur, as a creator. I went to one of Ezra's shows when he was in the band Sons of an Illustrious Father here in Austin, Texas. Ezra constantly comes to South by Southwest. I've had several friends and friends of friends who've run into Ezra down on 6th Street here in Austin, Texas. Always 100% amazing interactions, down-to-earth person, always great feedback that I hear. I myself have never gotten to actually meet Ezra Miller, but I saw him at his show. He can come off as a little eccentric, but he's so caring and down-to-earth. There's videos where he was handing out earplugs for the entire, we were like right in the front. He was like making sure he had like this huge thing. He was like, I don't want y'all's ears to explode. So here you go. And now he is in a band with the daughter.
Mm-hmm.
Right?
Yep. With the
And so that
eyes.
post, that post that you showed was essentially their reconciling and him supporting his daughter's new venture. And if you look, so their band is called 100 in the Hand. If you go to YouTube and search, they have some music videos out. Essentially, Ezra has now put all of his creative energy into showcasing her as an artist. He is kind of like taking a back seat. I'm sure he's going to be featured and doing some stuff, but think of like how great of a friend that Ezra is and how much honor he has as a friend after his friend's family did all of this, right? Ezra could sue and do like, fuck y'all, essentially. You ruined my life, right? But no, he's standing by somebody who, was alone, someone who was wanting to transition and having thoughts of, sexuality and fluidity that the parents were not going to condone and not going to let their daughter, explore. And essentially that daughter, was with Ezra and being supported by Ezra and their family. And therefore all these accusations come out, right? And then all these false claims, when essentially it basically, what it seems to me, was the daughter was fleeing for their life, essentially, and did not feel safe under the parents, right? Supervision, under the reservation. If you go back and you look at all the activism that the entire Justice League cast did, remember when all those like pipelines were being, essentially, there was all this protesting, essentially. People were standing their ground for these pipelines to come and disrupt these Native American reservations. The entire fucking Justice League cast, Jason Momoa, Ben Affleck, Henry Cavill, Gal Gadot, Ezra Miller, is on video when these relationships were established back in 2016, 2017, and before that even. Ezra has been a constant friend to this person when they started this activism together. And now he's continuing to stand by this person, even when the father is like, essentially, hey, sorry, my bad. I didn't know what I was doing, so I immediately withdrew. And so props to him, Chase Iron Eyes. But, at the same time, it's just very unfortunate. I'm glad they are bonded. I'm glad they have reunited and they are tackling this together. And you just move forward, right? You just can't really do too much back in the past. But it's very unfortunate that so many people believe these lies. Just one more cherry on top of the bad PR that Ezra was getting to help tank the Flash, which of course was already being self-sabotaged from within. Just like so many other projects that we're going to talk about, just like Suicide Squad 2016.
Oh yeah, I cannot wait till we get into that. But yeah, I mean, Josh, very well said. And I'm going to be honest. I think Ezra Miller, there's forgiveness and there's trust. There are two separate things. Ezra Miller, I think, is absolutely right to forgive Chase Iron Eyes, but that does not mean Ezra Miller should trust Chase Iron Eyes immediately. This is my opinion, mind you. This is just my opinion. Obviously, Ezra knows more than I do, but I think Ezra Miller needs to be very careful around Chase Iron Eyes because, again, because if he snaps again, it's going to be hard. I'm going to be honest, but. And it's, unfortunately, it's like toothpaste. Unfortunately, it's never going to all get back in the tube because there's people out there, again, who are still trying to say Ezra Miller did this. Especially when I see Snyder fans who should know better than believing headlines from some of these same trades that they've called bullshit for attacking Zack Snyder. But with Ezra Miller, you're jumping on it. I have to kind of question some of that. If you're really a SnyderVerse fan, how can you be so against mental health and all of a sudden believing headlines? But that's another story. But I mean, are there people out there who realize what happened, that it was false? Absolutely. There are people who said, whoops, my bad and stuff. And social media is not real life. Because I've educated people actually at the Rebel Moon Part 2 premiere or the showing in Chicago. I did tell the truth about Ezra Miller to people and they were very receptive of it. They were very receptive. I mean, so it may seem bad on social media, but I think there's a lot of real people out there who are seeing now this is false. And I have some real family members of mine or friends or something. I'm going to have they brought up Ezra Miller with me. That I'm going to have a conversation with them, being like, hey, look, this statement came out. And, I'm going to say, people who say they watch all my videos and then tell me Ezra Miller's a pedophile. Like, do you really watch all my videos? Because you wouldn't say it to me like that. Just going to point that out there. But anyways, yeah, just look. And people who did say that, mistakes happen, okay? It's okay to admit you're wrong. And again, if some more comes out about Ezra Miller that we can't defend, Josh, we will retract that. But right now, in this reality of November 2nd, 2024, there is nothing out there that I'm like, fuck Ezra Miller. Ezra Miller's guilty. Recast Ezra Miller. There's nothing out.
September 2nd. I was like, we're in the future. November 2nd?
Did I say November? God damn it. September 2nd, 2024. So.
Send Havoc up some goodness in the chat.
Yeah. And, I'm pulling them up because it's very interesting, but I don't have time to respond to them all because we do have a lot to cover. But now, Josh, so, again, we kind of covered that this is bullshit now. There's no reason people should still be going on there. But unfortunately, I've seen another desperation for people to say Ezra Miller's guilt, to try to promote Ezra Miller being guilty. Other actions. There's other stuff that came out. I mean, let's be honest here, though. If the grooming allegation never came out, a lot of this other stuff would have been forgotten about because that's, again, half of Hollywood. Anthony Starr, Jared Padalecki. And again, I want to make it clear, these names I'm mentioning, I'm not saying they should be canceled. I'm saying that if they are allowed to make mistakes, Ezra Miller should be allowed to make mistakes too. But you know how I said that celebrities should be held to a higher standard, and Sin Havoc kind of corrected me a little bit. And, I mean, celebrities should know more and they should be more careful. But basically, my point is, though, Ezra Miller admitted to getting mental health. Ezra Miller took accountability. That's the biggest thing here. So, because Ezra Miller did have mental issues, but Ezra Miller got the treatment. But I'm just saying, I want to kind of be careful how I say some of this stuff because I don't want it to seem like I'm defending certain actions. Because I do take stuff seriously. I do take abuse against other people very seriously. That is wrong. But there are certain stories that aren't out there. Like, and I'm going to, this name I'm going to mention is, someone that, I used to watch that had a bit of a falling out with, but I'm still going to mention this video because he did a good interview and I'm not going to take that away from him. Again, regardless of any issues I have with people personally, doesn't matter here. The Savage Bat. He had an interview with Anna Rosa. There was another accusation that Ezra Miller kidnapped a woman and her kids that again was debunked by her. And I do have that linked in the description. That's already there. So we don't need to worry about that. But Anna Rosa denied it and said that Ezra saved her and her kids from her abusive ex. And in one instance, Ezra Miller tried to get them out of the home, and then the guy pulled out a knife. And for context, he was trying to trap her in a I can't even say that word. Polyamorous relationship where there's multiple partners, but for context of the story, Anna Rose didn't want to be part of that, but I'm saying that for context of the story. But basically what happened is that he pulled a knife out. When Ezra Miller was trying to save the woman and two kids, Ezra pulled a knife out and threw a chair at him in self-defense, and it accidentally hit one of the other women. That's the chair throwing incident. And again, I'm not saying that Ezra handled that all right, but there is a difference between throwing a chair at someone maliciously and throwing a chair in an attempt to defend yourself. Those are two different scenarios.
100%.
So that's, right there. It's funny, Josh. I told someone I know in my real life about this story. When that interview came out, I told him about this. I called him up and vented. And what's funny is, 2 months later, he's like, oh, I read up about Ezra Miller. Throwing a chair at someone is pretty bad. The same person I told about this interview. See how it's funny how, again, it just flies over people's heads when you tell them the truth about something that actually happened, but then you reread it months later. It's like, oh, this happened. I already told you about this. And this guy, was a friend of mine. He does not have an excuse to not know about this. So, this isn't some random, isn't Twitter user 35. This was someone that I knew, that I personally knew. So, Again, point is there's a lot of other actions out there. The bar incident in Hawaii, which again, bar fight, Ezra Miller and Jared Padalecki got into those. But again, there's a video. I got this person, what's his name again? It's in the description. It's in the description, but he had a whole breakdown about Ezra Miller and he showed the video about what happened.
He was being harassed by bigots, and yeah, at that bar was notorious for being anti-LGBT, anti-eccentricness. That culture in Hawaii was very known for you get arrested, you spend the night, and then you get out of jail, basically. That's just what you do there. There's nothing to do on the island. So it was kind of like when you start talking to the locals, I guess, there, just like, oh, it's just another weekend, just another Tuesday. So once you start doing your due diligence and looking into things and not just relying on mainstream media to give you the narrative that they want you to have, you start realizing, wow, what I thought was the story is not the whole story.
Exactly. And in that video that's played, they even talk about lighting Ezra up.
Yep.
Which, again,
they're trying to attack him. So, of course, you're going to defend yourself.
Which, again, that video is in the description. And it's a long video that's in the description, but there's timestamps. Okay, so there's timestamps. So don't... Actually, both of the long videos that I have right now, there's timestamps. So... And it's pretty obvious what we're talking about. Like, what topic you want to go to. But that's the point, though. The point is there's other stuff to the story, too. It's not just clear Ezra Miller attacking people. And then even the Iceland incident, the one, it's funny because this choking incident came out and it was kind of forgotten about for 2 years. Like, people were talking about it for a month, and then it was like, by May, even before the Snyder Cut came out, people forgot about it. And then, or the announcement of the Snyder Cut. And then once the Hawaii stuff, that one resurfaced again. But, I'm going to say it. Again, I want to make this clear. That still could have been handled better. Because I do not ever want to condone attacking women. I want to make this clear. I never condone that. But it was not a joke. Because if you look at the video and this guy, God damn, I should have. I'm sorry, and the person watching, I'm sorry that I didn't get your name, but you are in the description and you are cited. So check out these names, guys. Check out these videos because I think they do better breakdowns, honestly. They do really well research breakdowns. But basically, it was actually to the side. So unless she has like some weird curved neck, it was to the side. And it was a takedown, like kind of a stage takedown, basically. But it was not a choke. I want to make that clear. Like, again, was that the best way to handle it? No, absolutely not. But I'm also not going to say what it actually was. Or I'm not going to say that it was something that it wasn't. I'll put it like that. I guess, Josh, you have anything you want to say about what I just covered?
I don't really want to go into it too much, but Bat Dan, just like Ezra Miller, Ezra Miller, if you start looking at everything, there's hate groups, right? He's called out fucking the KKK, essentially. Mm-hmm. There's been coordinated efforts of hate groups trying to take down this man's career. I myself have been a victim, my entire family, of hate groups, okay? You look up South by Southwest 2018. There's one day going to be a movie made about me and my family and the terrorist hate groups that attacked my family, okay?
Oh, wow.
So this subject is very important to me too. And I really, my heart goes out to Ezra Miller, his family, his friends who are affected by this, to Tanaka, I think that's how you pronounce her name. Everything and everything that this situation has caused, right? Like Ezra Miller, is he 100% perfect person? I don't think so. I don't think anybody is. Is he an artist and is he eccentric? Yes. But if you start looking at everything, he was a victim of hate groups. And I don't fucking have time for that. So, you know what? Me and Bat Dan, we're here to help stand with Ezra Miller. And thank you for everyone in the chat who's at least indulging us in the conversation to do what's right and speak up about these things.
Well said, Josh. Well said. And exactly. And again, as you said, Ezra Miller's not a perfect person. Honestly, I mean, I'm going to say it. For the right thing to do with that Iceland incident, the right thing to do would just been to ignore it as best you can. I know it's not always easy, guys. I know it's not always easy to do that, and Ezra Miller should have done that. I'm not going to lie and say that Ezra Miller should have not put her hands on that woman, regardless of what happened. I will admit that. But people are flawed. People are human. People fuck up, and there's a certain point where what happens is between the celebrity and that person. But the biggest thing right now, Ezra Miller took accountability. Ezra Miller got mental health treatment. That is the important thing that matters here. So yes, until I see accountability is not taken, I will stand up for Ezra Miller. Josh will stand up for Ezra Miller until something actually happens where I cannot defend this and Ezra Miller is absolutely a guilty person. I will not stand by about when something's being wrong. And again, I mean, look, I'm not going to lie. There's stuff I said tonight that I normally do not want to even touch with a 10-foot pole, with a 20-foot pole. I'm not going to lie. I mean, I'd rather would have not talked about some of this stuff, but unfortunately, this is part of the Ezra Miller incident. And Ezra Miller is a part of the SnyderVerse, and there's people are not doing their due diligence with Ezra Miller. So as hard as it is to talk about this stuff, as much as I don't really want to talk about some of what I just mentioned now, I have to, because I feel, because it's something I'm passionate about with Ezra Miller. And I love what you just said, Josh, with your story about what happened. And when that movie comes out, I'm definitely going to see it. And I'm definitely going to cover it, Josh, because you deserve to have your story told. And I really thank you for sharing that. And at the end of the day, guys, people are not perfect. People are flawed. People make mistakes. People fuck up. Okay? But at the end of the day, if you try to cancel everyone who fucks up, all of Hollywood's canceled. That's just the reality of it. Okay? That is the reality of what happened. So, we stand with Ezra Miller, whether you like it or not. And before we wrap up this Ezra Miller topic, I do have a topic. I want one last topic. Can they be in the SnyderVerse? So, should sell ZSJL to Netflix, sell SnyderVerse to Netflix happen? Can those guys be in the Snyder? Or, sorry, I said they, and my brain meant those guys. I'm sorry. One person. Can Ezra Miller be in the SnyderVerse? Now, remember that episode of Night Shift, Josh, that came out right after the Flash film?
Yes.
The Flash failed. Mikey Sutton reported this. If the Flash film failed because of Ezra Miller, can Ezra be in Netflix? Well, one, Mikey Sutton said, if you don't like Ezra Miller, tough, because Zack Snyder plans on using Ezra Miller for Rebel Moon or one of his other projects. That is what Mikey Sutton said. And Mikey Sutton also said, with Netflix, with ZSJL, unlike the Flash film, one, this film is on streaming, so it's on television. So there's less of an effort needed to see this movie. So you can work with, there's a little bit more of a line you can wiggle around with controversial actors. But also, unlike the Flash film, Ezra Miller's not the star. Henry Cavill, Ben Affleck, Gal Gadot are the stars of that film. And that's what Mikey Sutton said. And Ezra would be a supporting character. So it's already right there. It's already not as bad, but as starring the movie and theaters. And this is before Chase Ironeyes retracted his statement, whatever word you want to use. So now, with this out there, absolutely. Because here's the big thing too. Again, people want to say stuff like, well, if how can Ezra set a good role model for kids if the Flash is a superhero and is doing all this stuff? How can my kids look up to Ezra Miller? I'll answer that question for you. Think about how many children struggle with mental health issues. A lot of them do. A lot of them are fucked up. A lot of them have probably done stuff like Ezra Miller did. But guess what? Ezra Miller took accountability and got better. So here's the way I look at it. If Ezra Miller is showing that if you can get mental help, that everyone can fuck up and everyone can recover. So the next kid that fucks up and does something that they think is unforgivable, they can look at Ezra Miller and say, wow, Ezra Miller bounced back from this? Maybe I can too. This could be an inspiration to many people seeing the Flash. So the Flash fucked up and recovered. So yes, absolutely. Ezra Miller can be in the SnyderVerse. 100% Ezra Miller can be in the SnyderVerse when We get ZSJL 2 and 3 on Netflix. And I love what Bishop says here. Well said, Bishop. And
Thank you, Bishop.
And there's both some other comments. And I guess, Josh, again, I did my ramble. I guess, what's your thoughts on this?
No, you're right. I mean, what better way to deliver the message of somebody who's just like Ezra Miller's situation than to say, you are not alone, right? If I can do it and I can bounce back, so can you. I think Ezra obviously is a little bit crucial to the plot of Justice League 2 because we know those storyboards, right? And for people who maybe been watching and aren't really informed of the storyboards and what will or may not happen, because the storyboards will change, we know what is coming. And Zach will surprise us and will change, some things, but Ezra, I'm confident, will be a part of that 100%.
Absolutely. And actually, the funny thing is, two of these people, because in terms of recasting for the SnyderVerse, like if let's say an actor's not available, can't do the project, too expensive, whatever, you can either recast or write out the character. I think there are only, let's see, let me do some math. There's 10 actors who I think if they cannot do it, they do have to be recast. I would say the 7 Justice League actors, I'm not counting Wayne T. Carr in this because his footage was not shown. So if he's unavailable, I don't count it as a real recast since it wasn't shown. So that means the 6 we saw and Martian Manhunter. And then besides from that, Darkseid, Lois, and Joker. Because all are essential to the plot. Even Mira, even though Mira was shown in the additional photography, you could just say timeline change, Mira's no longer in it. So
yep. Different timeline.
But so Ezra Miller would so if the Flash was not if Ezra Miller could not do it, Zach would need to recast Ezra Miller. That's absolutely the reality of it. But I don't think Zach needs to. I think Ezra Miller absolutely can do it. So I guess anything else you want to say about this, Josh?
No, I'm like I said, I hope people remember how integral Ezra Miller's Barry Allen, the Flash, is to the entire arc of the Justice League. How the lightning bolt actually was just basically to resemble the Superman because the Flash, Barry Allen, was so inspired by Superman in this universe. Zach talked about that. He's my hero, basically. Ezra Miller, he is inspired by the Man of Steel. And it's not Superman who saves the entire world in ZSJ multiverse. It's Ezra Miller, Barry Allen, the Flash. It's not Ben Affleck. It's not Gal Gadot. Not Jason Momoa's Aquaman. Not Ray Fisher. Right? It's freaking Ezra Miller's Flash. So we're gonna definitely need more of him in ZSJL 2 and 3 on Netflix.
Absolutely. And well, some other characters, if it's not a recast, put it like this. If they weren't in it, it's not a recast. And I'm just going to say, I want to end it like this. Grant Gustin was great for CW, but he's overrated, guys. Okay, he's not the best Flash in the world because a lot of people have been using Grant Gustin, but this is no shade against Grant Gustin. And shout out to John Wesley Shipp for standing up for Ezra Miller and even doubling down when I tagged him in a tweet and responding to prayer emoji. So
I love that, man.
And, I didn't follow that, so I'm fine with Amber Heard in it too. But I'm not going to start that.
Mira is a badass. I'm not gonna lie. I mean, yeah. Mira.
I'm not gonna lie. She was my favorite part of Aquaman too. So sorry about that for those who don't like her. But thank you, Josh, though, for coming on for this part of the stream because I know this is not an easy topic to talk about. I know this is not a fun topic. I know this is kind of a controversial topic to talk about because. Again, I do realize the risk about talking about this. I'm not stupid. And I know I said some stuff that people might go, oh, Dan, you shouldn't have said that. But I'm like, I have to speak my truth, guys. Right or wrong, I have to speak my truth. And it's easy to do anyone can do the easy thing, but it's hard to do the right thing. So
I want to do, before we switch topics, can I do a little show and tell real quick? Because it does pertain to the Flash. I was doing some hunting for this bad boy at the grocery store. This is the Batman Beyond Platinum McFarlane. Found him. Bat Dan's Thoughts. Found my first Batman ever, Adam West. And got the Platinum version as well. But the thing that I was looking for, found. They are still fucking selling Batflick merchandise, and it's flying off the shelves. There was one left. This is Ben Affleck Batman in a different color scheme than the Flash movie. He actually has the blue and gray because it's actually more like the movie version. And the one they released, it was actually black and, you know, like the Justice League color. So it wasn't accurate. So I just found it very interesting that they're still using Ben Affleck's Batman to make profit because Batman fucking sells. So I just wanted to share that real quick since we were talking about the Flash. My toy collecting. My plastic collecting. But I just thought that was very interesting. Batfleck. Oh, yeah.
Everyone's favorite scene, right? I know this.
I need to get that still.
I saw this at the mall and I was like, I just had to show that. So I just wanted you were showing off some merchandise, so I wanted to show off some of mine. So
to show my, you know, my boss, Batman.
And thanks for stopping by, South Cali, guys. So we've kind of wrapped up the Ezra Miller topic, but catch that on replay. It will be time stamped. So yeah, I'd say, you know, we covered, I think we said everything we needed to say on that. So now let's move on to Jared Leto, Josh Herrera's experience. So this one, Josh is actually going to take the lead a lot more. But before we do that, I do want to play a quick, I won't play all for time's sake, but I will play one of these. Let me know if you can hear it, because I know sometimes I don't have luck with StreamYard playing the video or playing sound. So here we go. And let me just... Can you hear it? Yeah. Is there another part of this you want to show?
That's just that clear me next to Jared. It's that video clip right there. You can keep playing it. You just press play.
Okay. And again, guys. Oh, you just saw it. In the same costume that you're wearing right now, even.
In there. Shout out to my friend Desiree, who was working security and actually got her boss to let her come down to the pit and film me. Right here is where you can see me right now.
Yep.
And that's just me checking in for an amazing night at 30 Seconds to Mars concert.
And let me try to do this. So Josh's event, let me see how I can try this. Hold on. Unfortunately, StreamYard's not the best at showing. Wait, the browser blocked your screen. Oh, okay. Can you guys see me? I'm getting a weird message from StreamYard. Okay, well, I won't worry about it then. Okay, I'm just gonna close this little announcement. So I'm just gonna find some of the images real quick too. I was gonna try to show them on a separate file, but it'd be too hard to do. StreamYard's not the great at showing images. StreamYard makes it impossible unless you show it like on a post on X, which is really annoying, but that's what we're going to do. Fortunately, I'm gonna chill a bit. So, Josh, just talk about the experience.
So yeah, I am a huge Jared Leto fan. Not from his acting, actually. I mean, of course I am now, but originally 30 Seconds to Mars was my first passion and love for Jared Leto. Been a fan 30 Seconds to Mars forever. Probably more so my college years. First time seeing them. Just to give you an idea, I think I was 19 years old, and they were performing in San Antonio, Texas. Shout out to El Nicron, El Boogie down there. They were performing, and me and my cousin, I had a little hoopty, and it was not in the best shape. And so on the way to the concert back in 2009, when A Beautiful Lie, that album came out, with The Kill, which they're mostly known for, my car on the way was breaking down. And I was such a huge fan, and so was my cousin. And I looked at her and I was like, look, we have two choices right now. We're halfway there. We can either risk it, not risk it and turn around and drive back to Austin, or we can just risk it, drive like 40 miles an hour. There was something wrong with my transmission, and get to the concert right on time right now. We might break down in San Antonio, but at least we'll go to the concert. My cousin's like, floor it, punch it. And after that show, we were front row. I was not front row at first, but I ended up through the mosh pits getting to the front row. One of the most craziest, insane experiences of my life. And the rest is history. I started going to 30 Seconds to Mars shows, and ultimately, believe it or not, that was not the first time Jared Leto let me on stage. Back in 2011, actually, that was my first time. Their venue here in Austin, Texas is no longer around. It was called the Austin Music Hall, but they performed. And during the last song, I was near the front, but there was a bunch of like teeny little girls, right? They were all there to see Jared Leto, right? Oh my God. But they were so small and petite and little. And Jared started telling people, crowd surf to the front. And I was literally like right by the front, but there was like little girls right like in front of me. And so I didn't want to be a dick and like push them, right, or anything. So I could tell like this girl next to me, little bitty thing, could tell that I was trying to like look and bob and weave. And she's like, hey, are you trying to go on stage? And I was like, yeah. She was like, hey, girls, everyone, this guy's going on stage. We're going to help him. Ready? 1, 2, 3. And they fucking lifted me back then to crowd surf, right? But as they did, because they were so just little bitty girls, security grabbed me and pulled me off like over the rail. Jared said, no. Him in the yellow shirt, let him go. He's coming on stage with me. Jared fucking Leto called me out back in 2011, Austin Music Hall, said that guy in the yellow shirt, he's coming on stage with me. And he fucking did. And it was amazing. And Jared screaming lyrics into my face, spit all over me. I was fucking all in with 30 Seconds to Mars. I've crowd surfed to see them and get on stage with them several times. Music is one of my passions. If you're not familiar with Austin, Texas, we are the live music capital of the world. So a lot of amazing concerts happen here. But for me personally, I've said this on Lethal Geeks, I'll admit like 30 Seconds to Mars music is not like the greatest music of all time. But for me, that experience being at their concert, feeling the vibe, feeling the energy is unlike anything. You know, it's very much like, in my opinion, my personal opinion, experiencing a Zack Snyder movie or experiencing something that is transcendent. And that's what I am addicted to. I always make friends at these shows, and this one was no different. I did what I needed to do. I did pay for VIP, but that did not guarantee me to get on stage. It just guaranteed me to be in the pit in a meet and greet with Jared Leto and his brother, Shannon Leto, the drummer. and it was amazing. We got to meet them before the show and do a 20-minute Q&A with Jared and Shannon. Yeah. And that was amazing. So this is actually the first time that I actually ever met them. I've never paid for a VIP. I've always, because they've gotten bigger, right, as the years. Normally, Jared, if you just go to their shows, you know Jared's always going to tell everyone to rush the stage, much to the security's chagrin. Like, they hate it. They're like, fuck. And they always like fine Jared, you know, for violating the venue's policies. But Jared he's all about the experience and the vibe, right? He's going to stop the show if it gets too rowdy and people are getting hurt. And he's done that. But he wants his fans to have an unforgettable experience. And this concert was no different for me. I'll never forget. Thanks to Joker himself.
Thank you for sharing that experience, Josh. And, you know, I just have to kind of point something out that's really funny. I love how the two SnyderVerse actors on this stream we're talking about tonight are both musicians.
Interesting.
So
and I
really
talked about the similarities of people trying to cancel them. So it's very interesting.
And now, so literally, and for people who are curious, yes, I literally just shared these photos on Twitter without any caption whatsoever, because it's easier for me to share them like this. No caption. So in case people are curious why I just shared random photos, it's because it's easier for me to share a post on Twitter than it is for me to share images. So let me just actually pull this up in larger format. So, oh my God, shut up, StreamYard. Okay, hold on.
Yeah, StreamYard is. Last time I saw 30 Seconds to Mars, I didn't pay at all. Nice. That's great, Sinhavic. Yeah. So before not pictured, as soon as we got on stage, Jared came to because there was like a square, like tape on the stage, and security. You can see in my video, there's a guy, fucking annoying. I get it. It was all about safety, but he kept on saying, "Get back, get back, get back," because they wanted us to stay, you know, in this like tape box. But Jared before just came by to kind of look at everybody, and he saw me. And there's actually the guy in the video that you were showing with the pink hair. He's actually next to me. He came to both of us because we had so much energy. Everyone else was kind of, you know, they were excited, but we were actually like dancing and jumping and stuff. Yeah, that's the meet and greet. It was amazing.
And that's Jared's brother,
yep. Shannon Leto.
Shannon.
I would just point out that we had access when we downloaded our picture. You could see everyone's during the meet and greets. For everyone, they were just kind of like in between Shannon and Jared. They actually let me put my arms around them. I don't know if it's because I was dressed as Robin. And if you look, Shannon has his hand on my back, and then Jared, you can't see Jared's hand, but they were essentially embracing me. So I was like, the Robin, Joker's got me. Joker and his henchman. But so yeah, it was a great experience. Jared always puts on an amazing concert, amazing show. And if you have the opportunity, I highly suggest just to see the vibe. You know, it's very Jared's music. This kind of coincides with, you know, the SnyderVerse community. It's really saved people's lives. It really has. You can look at some of their music videos and some of the messages of their music. You know, it's about not giving up, not giving into that darkness. And, you know, tomorrow's a new day. And so they do a lot of advocacy for suicide prevention because of that. And I'm very grateful, obviously, for people who know my background and my story. I'm very grateful to them and their band and the power that their music gives to people who need hope. I've talked to so many people in various shows who have told me that this band has saved their life. And these people are very, you know, there's been allegations against Jared for being so powerful and a cult-like leader. But I think it's because of just him and the art of performance that he gives. He gives it his all. He was actually, during that meet and greet picture back then and during the Q&A, he was in a ton of pain. This is the end of the tour. There's only 2 shows left. I think actually tomorrow's like the last tour. So it's taken a toll. This man is like, I don't know if you know, he's like 50 years old, essentially.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. Joker. So is Batman, okay? Don't look it, in my opinion. But he told us all, he's like, there's like a knife in my back right now. He was very calm. Like during the Q&A, he was trying to save his voice. He was kind of soft spoken. However, he perked up when the picture happened. And then when he got on that stage, you could not even tell that he was in so much pain from throwing out his back at the Houston show, I think, that happened earlier. So it was amazing. He did come up to me at one point. Like I said, when Jared was like making sure everybody was okay, he said, "You made it, brother." He said, "Yeah, brother, you made it." And he did give me a fist bump. There's a video that I posted on my Instagram. And during the Q&A, I said, I raised my hand. Shannon picked me. And then I said, "Oh, so I was here in July 2018. And then Jared stopped me and he said, "Oh, I remember you." And I was like, "Oh, you do?" And so I don't know if it was because I was dressed as Robin and I didn't have my mask on. Oh, Dick Grayson. I didn't have my mask on either, but he was giving such deadpan delivery and people were laughing at everything he said because he was in pain. He's like, "Oh, that's not a joke." So when he told me, "Oh, I remember you," I was like, "Oh, you do?" And I was like, "Wait, are you joking?" I don't care. You're the Joker. I don't care. But he told me he did remember me. And when you're screaming in somebody's face, I mean, I think it would be pretty memorable. But he's probably seen so many faces. But I guarantee you he didn't see a Robin. I've seen a young kid dressed as Joker and a few other adults dressed as Joker. But I've never seen anybody dressed as Robin. So I thought I'd do,
And it's fitting because Robin's so connected to Zack Snyder's and David Ayer's story for Jared Leto's Joker. So
I think Jared got the message and knew what was up. And he also let it slip. Oh, sorry. And then I said, "What was going through your minds?" Because in 2018, during the kill, Jared always does like crazy stunts or something, during his shows to give, a sense of hype. And so during the kill, he was elevated on a platform that raised above the stage. He was buckled in and the platform was like rotating and moving and stuff, right? So he could walk all over. But the platform got stuck. And Jared was harnessed in, so he couldn't move. And the power went out. So he was kind of freaking out. And the entire audience in Austin, Texas, in July 8th, 2018, sang the entire song of the kill, a cappella. I have video of it. It's an amazing experience. I get goosebumps. Jared, I remember when the power came back on, because we sang the entire song. By the time we sang the entire song, the power came back on. And Jared said, "Oh my God, I will never forget this as long as I live." So that's why I brought up this during the Q&A. And Jared gave a very philosophical answer. He said, that incident, that was not a mistake. That wasn't an accident, because that beautiful moment that came out of it. He said, "There's no mistakes on our tours. There's just beautiful moments that come out of that." And so I love that about the man. He's such a, there's such a calmness. There's such a tranquilness. He's at peace with who he is as a person. And that's something that I think is so magnetic, and that some people who don't get his music find threatening. But he is Mr. J too. So, he's got that power, Would you die for me? So, but amazing experience. I'll never forget this. As you know, Bat Dan, I was actually freaking out. I didn't know if I was going to be able to make this with something very serious happening with my mother this week. Essentially, I talked with her, my mother, and my aunt. My mom had been getting somewhat better. My aunt stayed with my mom so I could go to this concert. I could not refund it, the meet and greet, due to the terms of Ticketmaster. I could not try to sell it. So I was going to be stuck I couldn't do anything, essentially. And my mom was like, "I'm resting. I'm fine. This is your favorite band of all time. Go meet the Joker." And so I did. And literally I was exhausted. But as soon as I got done with that concert, I drove all the way back to the hospital, which was about an hour outside of Austin, and spent the night with my mom. But memories that lasted a lifetime. And so my mom is doing better now and is out of the hospital. But bless her for having the strength to let me go and do that for one of my favorite bands of all time, because it really did a lot for me after going through a stressful time and dealing with a lot recently.
And I'm just going to, since you already brought this up live, I'll say this live, but I think it's important to do stuff like this, even with what you're going through right now with your mom, because you need moments like this to get your mind off things. It doesn't help to just be in the hospital with your mom all the time, especially since you had someone else there to watch your mom. It's important for you, for your mental health, to do stuff like this. And I'll say this now. I mean, that's, you know, when I invite you on streams going forward, it'll, you know, again, it's just to give you an opportunity to give you a distraction for a little bit, because that's what we need. And you've been a very dedicated son to your mom, which I think is very commendable. And I'm really glad you had a good time at this event with Jared Leto. Jared Leto just seems like a really nice and genuine person. And I'm really glad you got to do this. I'm really glad you got to meet this. And, you know, actually, that's kind of a double entendre. It's like, you know, Jared Leto said, "Would you live for me?" But in a way, essentially, that's what your mom was asking you, though, in a way. Would you live? So I won't say too much more because I don't want to get you too emotional, but I'm really glad. You know, Josh. Again, I'm really glad you did this, and I really appreciate you coming on and even appreciate you coming on now with everything. But yeah, I'm just again really glad you had a great time meeting Jared Leto, and yeah, Jared Leto seems like a really nice guy, a really genuine person. Just like I would say everyone's Zach cast, but technically Zach didn't cast Jared Leto, David Ayer did. But Zach has still used Jared Leto. And I think Zack Snyder at one point even said he's a huge Jared Leto fan. And
Oh yeah.
technically speaking, the Snyder Cut is its own entity. It's not connected to the DCEU. So, and the Snyder Cut and Jared Leto scene was additional photography. It wasn't already filmed, unlike, you know, the Wonder Woman related scenes with Connie Nelson and David Thewlis. Or how do you say the guy who plays Ares and he's also.
I think he did good.
Okay. But yeah, that guy. He's also Harry Potter, or he's also Professor Lupin, the werewolf in Harry Potter. But, you know, unlike those guys who were actually, when those scenes were filmed, it was meant to be part of the DCU. Jared Leto, Zach could have recast him, but Zach still chose to use Jared Leto. So just pointing that out there. But
hey, Zach wanted Jared to be vindicated. So I think we should too. Just saying.
Exactly, Josh. This brings me to my next point. So, you know, a big reason that, you know, we're talking about this right now is because, you know, we have some good friends of ours. And, you know, and again, guys, this is much love. This is no shade towards them. You know, we're people who have different opinions, and that's okay. And maybe I'll have them on my channel or I'll go on their channel to discuss this too. But hold my DualShock, they don't really care about the Ayer cut. They don't think it's essential. And, you know, we just kind of want to, especially since you just met Jared Leto, and I think we have some thoughts we want to say on this. And part of that. And guys, and you know, I'll add them in post-production, but go subscribe to Hold My DualShock. They're great guys, they're great people, even if we disagree with them on this right now. And are they still in the chat? But I don't think they are. But anyways.
Thank you, SPR Dave. Yeah, no, I mean, I'll be honest, like just preface as we go into this topic, I think we both agree, Bat Dan. Like, cell is the way, right? But we just want to clarify that Ayer cut is included within cell.
Yes.
Now, for me personally, I don't want to speak for you, but if I had to choose, do you want Justice League 2 and 3 or the Ayer cut? Of course, Justice League 2 and 3. Like,
oh yeah,
I'm
absolutely.
Because yes, I did like Suicide Squad. I loved. I'm a little invested. For people that don't know, if you're asking who wants the Ayer cut, there's tons of people in this world. This fucking movie inspired a whole culture. Okay. Tons of people, even the Butchered studio squad, right? It's a great movie. And if you're wondering why, if you're thinking, oh, it was created as like a side project, a detour. No, it was not. We know the storyboards. Like, the end game of Zack Snyder's Justice League is that Superman is the star of Justice League 3. And
don't get too ahead of yourself. What you're going to say, that will be a topic later on. Okay. But
why David Ayer and Jared Leto deserve?
Yeah, but hold on to what you said though, Josh. Keep that in your head, because I do want to hear the rest of that.
During that stream that we were talking about, there was some misinformation. So yes, David Ayer did say, and I remember this too, because I was kind of like, what the fuck, David Ayer? He did say 100% when he was asked. They said, oh, is there going to be a director's cut? Before the movie came out, mind you, he was asked, are you going to have a director's cut? And he said, no, 100%. The theatrical cut is my cut of the movie. Then he showed up to the screening in the premiere, blindsided that the entire movie was re-edited by the trailer house who did the trailer. He has later, you can look this up, talked about how foolish and stupid, because most people don't realize he was speaking in good faith at that time. He didn't know that the studio went behind his back and re-edited it. He said, I was so taken back and like, what the fuck am I going to say now? Because he had just in the interview said 100% that was his cut. And then he saw the movie at the premiere. At the premiere, Bat Dan, where the Justice League cast was at, right? You see those pictures that I sent you?
Yep, and that will come up later on too.
So I'll let you speak because I don't know where we're going to that. But 100% David Ayer, I think, deserves the same vindication of Zach. Now, I understand why people are trigger shy to try to go all in on David Ayer when he's been flip-flopping. He's not Zack Snyder, right? And we want that Zack Snyder energy from David Ayer. I don't think we're going to get that. You know, we have gotten subtle moments and then he'll go back, right? He'll go back in the shell. He's trying to, I think David is trying to keep his career alive, right? And I actually did like The Beekeeper a lot. But he's trying not to be blacklisted, right? He just got married. Congratulations to him. He's trying to survive. Yeah, he's trying to survive in this world, just like all these actors and all of Hollywood is, right? David Ayer's we talked about how David Ayer was brought in one of the X-Men movies to do rewrites, I think, for Wolverine Origins. Like David Ayer in Hollywood, they always like used him ever since Training Day, right? Ever since his accolades. And he's a great filmmaker in my opinion. And although I did love Studio Squad 2016, I want to see the real version of that. And for people, and if you don't care about Jared's performance in Studio Squad, that's even more reason to see the Ayer cut, because you didn't see the real performance. It's already been stated.
Yeah.
So if you don't like it, wait till you see the real performance and then judge it.
Exactly. Well said, Josh. That's very well said. And to me, so yeah, this topic is basically about for the sake of David Ayer and Jared Leto. You know, the next topic will actually be about the importance of the SnyderVerse itself. But, you know, right now, for just David Ayer and Jared Leto's sake. And in case you're curious, I'm having Jared Leto in all these topics just for the consistency of the format of how I've been doing the banners on this particular stream. So you'll see Jared Leto dash for pretty much all Ayer cut related topics, even if it doesn't directly have anything to do with Jared Leto. But yeah, I think the biggest reason is because David Ayer's film was butchered. As you said, it was butchered in post-production, and he was blindsided. And do I agree with everything David Ayer has done? No. But like moving the trending event, I do think was a big mistake, especially because James Gunn clearly did not repay that favor. You know, as people know, there's supposed to be a big trending event the day that the Suicide Squad premiered, and David Ayer asked to move it. And I do have a hot take with this, Josh. I do think if everyone had listened to David Ayer, it would have been fine. No damage would have been done. The problem is some people were like, oh, we're going to do it anyways on this day. And then other people were like, well, no, let's listen to David Ayer. I think that's what caused the problem. But David Ayer should have known that division was going to happen. So I'm still putting fault on David Ayer. Like, I'll put it like this. One party's guilt does not equal another party's innocence. That's the way I kind of look at it right now. So, and I think he is a good guy. I think he's been very respectful, and he wants to have faith in people that he thinks are his friends. I mean, like, he thought that James Gunn was his friend. I'll put it like this, Josh. You and I, recently, we had someone else we thought was our friend that turned out not to be. We'll just say it like that. Won't say anything more. But the point of what I just said, though, Josh, is that we've all had that. We've all had people we thought were our friends that weren't. And I do think David Ayer should not play wishy-washy. I will admit that. But at the end of the day, people hate his cut. A lot of people throw shade at his cuts. And here's the biggest way I look at it. Why not? I mean, if you hate the Ayer cut when it comes out, that's fine. But at least you hate it for what David Ayer truly wanted to do. Because some people say, well, I didn't see anything that grabbed me. The 2015 Suicide Squad trailer. That was the Ayer cut. And that had a completely different tone than Studio Squad. So right there, that's something that you've seen that's completely different. And same thing with Jared Leto. We saw his performance in the Snyder Cut, and I think most people agree that that was infinitely better than what we saw in Studio Squad.
Yep.
So why would you not? So to me, it's again right there. You have something that kind of base that on for what you want for Jared Leto's Joker. You saw a good performance right there. So why wouldn't you want a whole movie of an unbutchered performance? Because Zack Snyder was a producer on Suicide Squad. He was. So I mean, I can't say for sure that he's seen this, but I would suspect that he's seen the Ayer cut and has based a lot of his direction on Jared Leto on the Ayer cut. Theory, mind you, not confirmed fact, but my biggest thing though, Josh, at the end of the day, David Ayer and Jared Leto are judged very harshly. Jared Leto's Joker still gets made fun of because unfortunately a 5-minute or a 2 to 5 minute scene was not enough for everyone to be like, oh no, Jared Leto was not a bad Joker after all. I mean, I think some people, their eyes were opened a little more, but at the end of the day, Jared Leto deserves it. Because even here's the thing, even if you're mad at David Ayer for how he's been playing it, a lot of other cast members want it out there. And this is also not just for David Ayer, but for them too, especially Jared Leto. I said I care about the Ayer cut more for Jared Leto than I do David Ayer, because Jared Leto, his performance, he still gets made fun of for his Joker. Like the How Should Have Ended videos used to have Jared Leto as their Joker for what they showed, but then they did some Batman punching back in time and they went back to Heath Ledger's Joker because, they don't like Jared Leto's Joker. And, again, they have the right to their opinion, mind you, but at least have his real performance out there so that it's out there. And, there's the thought of, oh, but, if David Ayer gets his cut out, what stops other directors from getting their cuts out? Or where does it end? I'm like, director's cuts have been out for a while. I mean, Blade, Daredevil. I mean, director's cuts are not this new thing that started with the Snyder Cut. There's always been director's cuts out there. So this wouldn't be any different. I guess, it would be branded as David Ayer Suicide Squad like Zack Snyder's was. But again, this is a way to make things right. If you hate the Ayer cut still, fine. But hate it on its own merit. Hate it on the merit that David Ayer and Jared Leto the direction David Ayer actually wanted to take it and the performance Jared Leto actually gave.
Yep.
And
100%.
Oh, thank you, Hold My DualShock. And again, I want to make this clear. This is much love to you guys. This is much love to you all. And maybe we can have a full-on... I mean, hey, if you send me the link to your stream and I'm available, band's returning, so Thursdays are out for me. But other than that, if you have a stream on this sometime, I would happily debate you on this. So I'm sure, Josh, you would feel the same way. So... And and I'll say, like, if it was a choice between ZSJL 2 and 3 and the Ayer cut, obviously ZSJL 2 and 3. And I'll go even further. If it was a choice between the Batflick movie or ZSJL or the Ayer cut, I'll even say the Batflick movie. Yep. I would still choose it over Man of Steel 2 just because Henry Cavill at least got a solo movie, and with BVS and the Justice League trilogy, his arc would be completed. Like, Man of Steel 2 is bonus, as far as I'm concerned. But, the Batflick movie and ZSJL 2 and 3 definitely trumps the Ayer cut for me, but... We'll get into that other stuff later on. And and the only reason I'm not inviting you guys on right now is because this stream's already kind of packed with the Ezra Miller stuff, and we'll be on here for 3 hours if we bring you on. So, but don't worry. We'll definitely debate with you guys right now. So, and again, the reason why I'm overemphasizing this, by the way, much love to you guys, because I always want to make it clear that I never attack people. I never like to attack people personally, people who are my friends. Because I know on this YouTube day and age, people will take a clip and they'll use it. So it's like I'm overemphasizing it literally for that reason. So that no matter where you see it.
Batman punching Karens.
But, and the thing is, too, like, stuff might make sense in context, too, for their performance. Like, the damage tattoo is actually a pretty cool story reason because he makes fun of... It's a way to make fun of Robin. That was a backstory. Or his laugh. And the teeth can actually be explained in a backstory. Joker killed Robin, which actually he even said that Jeff Johns broke his timeline with the Harley Quinn being accomplice edits, and we'll explain that later. But basically what happened, Joker killed Robin. Batman broke his teeth and damaged his vocal cords as retaliation. So there's a story reason for why he looks that way. But so that's why Joker can't have broken teeth, before Harley Quinn, if she's an accomplice to Robin's murder. Jeff Johns, as David Ayer said, broke that timeline. So, yeah. So, I mean, right there, though, that's context that's added. And if you notice, Zack Snyder kind of still kept some of that backstory. He still gave Joker the broken laugh and the broken teeth.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe because, I mean, we'll get into this actually the next topic, but you know, I mean, and yeah, and again, the reason why I clarify this, I know you guys know that, but I never want like rumors to get started. I never want rumors to ever get started. That's mostly why. Again, all love with you guys. But yeah, I think that's kind of why though, because I think it can really change the context of the story. And at the end of the day, it's just artistic integrity. That's all it is. Give David Ayer the chance to show his movie and give Jared Leto the chance to show his true performance. Because if you hated it, that's even more reason. I mean, look at Justice League. Look at how that changed people's perspective. I mean, if anything after that, we can see how much things change. So we have some other stuff we want to kind of talk about. So anything else you want to say about this topic?
Justice for Jared! Even though he killed me.
Okay, Josh. So now we're getting to the importance of the SnyderVerse. So that rant I cut you off on,
yes.
Go now.
So spoiler alert. Part of the reason why Suicide Squad is always right? Zack was doing his plans, right? His 3 to 5 movie arc, right? Justice League 2 and 3. That was Zack's. However, he incorporated Suicide Squad and David doing that also. You got to fill the void. When the Superman is dead, what's going to happen in this universe? Zack was building a universe at the same time. So if you're going to have fast forwarding, I'm fast forwarding a lot due to time. Justice League 3, Superman's movie where he is finally the Superman we all know and love, right? He's back in the red and blue. He's gone through the black suit turmoil. He's back in the red and blue. And under his symbol, the S, the hope, the entire world becomes a Justice League and battles Darkseid's armada. Much like if you've watched Justice League Unlimited, the final battle in which Lex Luthor's Legion of Doom teams up with the Justice League Unlimited to defend Earth against Darkseid.
Just one thing I want to say real quick, but in Zack Snyder's version, no bat embargo, so Batman's villains can actually be included in that.
Exactly.
Something that always bothered me about that little arc of Justice League Unlimited.
And that's what I'm so, when you say an entire world, you're talking about the DC universe. So the enemy of my enemy is my friend. So when you have Deadshot, literally his entire arc wanting to kill the Bat, right? I'm convinced Deadshot was going to be in the Batfleck movie. I'm just convinced. Much like Arkham Origins, when Deathstroke is trying to kill Batman, Deadshot's also trying to kill him at the same time. I'm also convinced Joker is involved. The red notes in BVS, I don't think those were really from Luthor. I think those were from a combination of Slade and Joker. If you know the original script to Batman versus Superman, which included Batman marrying somebody and Lex Luthor and Joker teaming up, or Joker being resurrected. It was actually going to be the Jack Nicholson version, resurrected by Lex Luthor, teaming up and tormenting Batman to be so dark that he fights Superman to kill him. Very similar. So all these ideas where the notes and all that was carried over to Zack's. Okay. I read the script, so I know. So once you start realizing, you're like, and you start realizing what was going to come in other projects.
What do you mean Jack Nicholson's Joker? Was Jack Nicholson going to be the...
It was going to be in the old version of Batman v Superman. It was going to be basically Michael Keaton. It wasn't going to be Michael Keaton, but essentially his version. So the version that killed the Joker, right? It's going to be resurrected by Lex Luthor. And that Joker would have killed Batman's fiance. to help lead him down a dark path so that he was in such a depressive state, turned his anger towards Superman and fought Superman to kill him. It's a long story. Got to read the script and look it up. But those ideas, if you know that script, were carried over into BVS.
Interesting.
The framework of it. So, Joker and Batman, you have to. I'm sorry. You have to have Joker and Batman. Suicide Squad, the reason they exist is to fill the void for the government, right? When the Justice League was not formed yet. And Superman, if there's no Superman, who's going to save us? So that inspires Batman to put his team together, but that also inspires Amanda Waller to put her team together. So I freaking love that. I just love that. Dan, you're familiar with. You watched X-Men the Animated Series season 1. My favorite episode. It's the final decision when Magneto, the villain of the entire season, has to team up with the X-Men to fight the greater evil. I fucking love that shit. Zach was going to give us the same thing. The Injustice League and the Justice League together. Just like we saw at the premiere of the Suicide Squad. Teamed up, fighting to defend Earth. So you would have seen Deadshot wanting to kill the Bat, Harley Quinn trying to kill the Bat, Killer Croc trying to kill the Bat, Slipknot trying to kill, he's gone. But sorry, no Slipknot. But all these villains coming together to help the Justice League, essentially, in Justice League 3. And so that series obviously overperformed. They were not expecting those numbers. So it still was a success and garnered a horrible sequel. But that was due to studio politics, right?
Standalone sequel, we'll say.
Retcon.
Well, actually,
retcon, according to Sin Havoc. So, yeah. Sin Havoc, there were 2 Jokers originally. Interesting.
That sounds like a theory I read on Movie Web, actually. So, I'll be honest, I'm kind of glad they did not go in that direction. I'm glad that certain things changed, but...
So Sin Havoc, the notes were from Joker and BVS.
But, the notes being from Joker and BVS, absolutely. And, if they do other projects in the SnyderVerse, that potentially could still be the case. So, absolutely. I think the biggest thing, which, again, the biggest thing with the Ayer cut, people are like, why is this in the conversation as much as ZSJL 2 and 3 or the Batfleck movie or Man of Steel 2? And look, there's a lot of cut projects in the SnyderVerse we're not going to get. And basically the SnyderVerse at this point, separate IP, consists of Man of Steel, BVS Ultimate Edition, and Zack Snyder's Justice League. Those are the only thing in the official IP. DCU is its own separate entity, only shared movie Man of Steel. Because BVS, it's the theatrical version. Anyway, point of that rambling is that means the Ayer cut, though, is not part of the DCEU. And unlike all these other scrap projects of the DCEU, this is a filmed project. This movie is already filmed, 100% filmed. That's the big thing, even more complete than the Snyder cut was. So to me, you can't have a perfect completion of the SnyderVerse while not showing an already filmed movie. So that's one reason why I say for the SnyderVerse it's important. But also, and again, this is just a theory of mine. Don't run with this theory, but ZSJL is its own separate IP, according to ZodWriter and Sin Havoc. That means if Netflix gets the licensing rights to the ZSJL IP, I have a theory that Zack Snyder may not be allowed to use castings that don't occur in those 3 movies. So basically, this, according to this theory I have, that means Jared Leto was in ZSJL, so Zack could use him, but Zack may not be allowed to use Deadshot, Will Smith's Deadshot, or Viola Davis's Amanda Waller, although she may be too busy with James Gunn. But anyways, to use any of those characters. But if, let's say, Netflix gets the rights to the Ayer cut, that may give them the rights to use those castings as well. So basically, if they want Will Smith's Deadshot in ZSJL 2 and 3, they could do that if they had the rights to the Ayer cut. That's the other big thing about it. And so basically, it was really just because basically I think he was offered Superman or the Suicide Squad, and at that time he did not want to do Superman, probably because at that time they hadn't rebooted, so you'd have to use Henry Cavill, my opinion. But he felt like he wanted to do Suicide Squad. Basically, they just Warner Brothers Discovery Warner Media rolled out the red carpet for James Gunn, who even bragged about not having notes, having to take notes. So he does not get, and he bragged about that. So he probably does not have a director's cut. Plus, he's studio head. So if he really had a director's cut, he would have greenlit it already. So
I'm gonna tell you the real answer, Bat Dan. It wasn't that he wanted to do Superman or Suicide Squad. It was, which franchise IP with DC can I tank faster? Oh, Suicide Squad, because my friends over there are going to do the Thunderbolts, so that's a ripoff of Suicide Squad. So let me destroy a fucking successful franchise that overperformed, that is threatening Marvel. And now he's on to Superman. That's the real reason. Hold my dual shot. Shout out to the dualies.
Interesting. And yep, I do know that. I've heard that before. And before we wrap up this particular topic, let me just share my screen again. So I swear I've done this more times on this show than I have other. So let me just show. Oh, Jared Leto and Ezra Miller.
Interesting topic.
Ezra Miller posing for the Suicide Squad.
Mm-hmm. Joker and Flash, Team Nightmare.
I love this one.
That's members of some Justice League reunited with the Suicide Squad cast and the entire. Do you have the one with everyone?
Let's see. I think I have all the images that you sent me. So, there's Jared Leto again.
There's the entire Justice League. Well,
except Gal and Fisher
and Ray. But yeah, Henry Cavill, Ezra Miller, Jason Momoa, and Ben Affleck. Justice League and Suicide Squad united. A sign
another
of things
one. And remember when Henry Cavill surprised the Suicide Squad at a Comic-Con?
I was there.
You were there?
I was at that. That was my first Comic-Con back then. I was not there at the booth. I was inside Hall H because basically whenever they do that signing, they have their panel and they go immediately to the floor. Obviously, Suicide Squad was first. Then it was actually Justice League right after. And so Henry, he didn't come out with the whole cast until later because he was the surprise. So he was able to go for the meet and greet and surprise everyone from B for Vendetta mask on. Wearing a Suicide Squad. Interesting.
Gunn said that the rumor about him hating Cavill was false. Maybe that was just another educated wish. And again, remember, Josh, I've said this. We all owe James Gunn an apology for calling him a liar. He was never a liar. He was just an educated wisher. So, and yeah, that's a good point. That's a good point. Hold my dual shock. And actually, so basically, at the end of the day, to me, the importance is this is a movie in the SnyderVerse that's filmed. So I cannot say a SnyderVerse has been perfectly restored. And I don't mean that as a hashtag. I mean that as a statement because I don't use the restore hashtag anymore. But at the end of the day, this movie is important because it tells a lot of necessary story for the SnyderVerse, and it's filmed. It's a filmed movie in the SnyderVerse. And this actually leads me to anything else you want to say before we wrap up this topic? Oh,
sorry, just had to restart my Netflix.
Okay.
If you know, you know. No, yeah. I just think that just like I said, just a preface for me, honestly, if I had a choice, and I think Bat Dan agrees, Ayer cut or Justice League 2 or 3, yeah, I'm going for the bigger, the whole enchilada, right? And Jared will be a part of that. So I'm getting Jared either way. But the original storyboard was Deadshot was going to be part of Nightmare Timeline, not Deathstroke, right? So we got to remember that. Essentially, Harley Quinn. What is so fascinating to me about the exchange between Batman and Joker at the end of the ESJL in the Nightmare Timeline is Batman talks about Harley Quinn after Joker tries to get over Batman's skin with the death of the Boy Wonder, and Batman throws it right back at him about holding Harley Quinn in his arms. So that makes me think, was Harley Quinn also on Team Nightmare? Because the Suicide Squad would essentially join the League with Amanda Waller's blessing, essentially. So there's a lot of connectivity with the Suicide Squad and with the villains, essentially. The Injustice League that we would have seen with Riddler, Captain Cold, Black Manta, Ocean Master, Dr. Poison, Lex Luthor. Just watch Justice League Unlimited's last 3 episodes, the finale, the series finale of Justice League Unlimited, and you'll know why the villains are so important and integral to Superman's story.
Exactly. Well said, Josh. Well said. And at the end of the day, for me, is that, again, there's a lot of stuff that Zach will have to adapt because not all these spin-off projects could get made. I mean, to me, because the main story is Man of Steel, BVS, Zack Snyder's Justice League, and the 2 sequels. That's the pentology, the main arc. And Zach would probably have to adapt certain things into the 2 movies. But this movie's already filmed, so let's give them one last beef. Or sorry, I'm reading some of these comments. Let's give Zack Snyder one less thing he has to incorporate that could just be shown in the Ayer cut. Because again, Ayer cut's not part of the CEU, so that could, in theory, if Netflix got the rights, be part of that ZSJL IP. So, and again, some of the stuff was theories, that I had. But at the end of the day, it's a film project, so let's get it out there. And actually, Hold My DualShock said something that I'm going to bring up because it actually goes to the next topic. Because I'm going to say this one right here. So forget about the justice, forget about the Snyderverse, or the necessary for the Snyderverse. Is there a return on investment the necessary parties can get on this? So I'm saying, whether it be Warner Brothers or even Netflix, if Warner Brothers sells the IP to Netflix, sells the cut to Netflix, can the necessary parties get a return on investment? And I'm going to say yes, because it doesn't take that much. The movie's filmed already. Yeah, you have to repay some of the actors for their likeness being used, but you don't have to pay them for time because they already got paid for that for Studio Squad. You don't have to pay for any filming and stuff. It's a very cheap investment that you have to actually make. So compared to the Batflick movie or ZSJL 2 and 3, this one's an easy investment. It doesn't take a lot to get a return on investment. And again, as Hold My DualShock asked, the Ayer cut made money. The Ayer cut did well financially. So if that one does well, you can bet the superior version of the film will do even better.
You meant Studio Squad did well. You said the Ayer cut did well.
Oh, god damn it. I'm so bad at, I tell you, Josh, I'm so bad at saying stuff sometimes, but
All good. You got a sidekick here to help.
Exactly. And looks like Hold My DualShock has been doing some typos. I've done that too.
I was like, beaking? They're beaking? Robin?
Yeah, we absolutely could have, but it's coulda, shoulda, woulda is done now. So the main question is, can they get investment? Absolutely. They absolutely can get a return on investment. And I think Warner Brothers Discovery, they need to make money so they can just sell it off. They don't even have to pay the production costs.
Even with another franchise using Joker and Harley, it doesn't matter. Joker and Harley puts butts in seats. That's the main thing. That's why Suicide Squad overperformed. Yes, Will Smith also being biggest actor in the world, and people forget he never played a villain before.
Mm-hmm.
This is his first time. Iconic. And with everything happening with the slap, no better time to resurrect Will Smith as a bad guy than within the Ayer cut, right? And seeing that arc play out with Harley Quinn, because the entire arc, that threesome, that love triangle between Joker, Deadshot, and Harley comes straight from the fucking comics that they totally omitted. I want to see that.
And let's be honest, does anyone really care about that slap anymore? I mean, people made a big deal about when it happened, but like we said with Ezra Miller, people fuck up, people recover. That's life.
Not after Martin Lawrence smack the shit out of Will Smith in Bad Boys 4. If you know, you know.
Although I have not seen Bad Boys, I do
Spoiler
not get
alert.
that.
Spoiler.
That's okay. I don't mind.
There's a slap.
But
There's a slap reference, and it's amazing.
I will say though, if Zack Snyder does put Will Smith in the Nightmare timeline, I absolutely want to see Deadshot slap someone. I want to see Deadshot just slap a parademon or maybe slap Joker. No, I want to see that. Zack Snyder, do not, if you put Will Smith in your Nightmare timeline, you better have him slap someone. I do have a bit of dark humor sometimes, and
I appreciate
just buys WBD. I think it could. I mean, I think that could potentially happen right now, but I honestly I don't really want to rely on that too much for the reason of that's a merger that takes time. That takes time to approve. A licensing deal can happen pretty much instantly.
Hey, Debbie was asked some stuff at the Rebel Moon stuff, and she let it slip. She's like, I have no idea what they're planning. Who's they? Debbie.
Yeah, that's interesting point there, Josh.
And of course, you do know what they're planning because you're the freaking producer. But you know, she's good. You're good. You almost had me.
And I will say this: if there was any filming that needs to be redone, maybe Zack Snyder could help David Ayer Tig Margot Robbie out of the film with another actress. And when I say Tig, I'm referring to the actress of Army of the Dead who replaced another controversial actor post-production. So maybe if there's any film that needs to be redone, maybe Zack Snyder can help David Ayer with that technique if Margot Robbie is too much of a bitch to get free money. Look, here's the thing, guys. This is free money for crying out loud. You're not doing additional work. This was the work you already did.
Right.
Fuck any skeletons you have. This is a better performance you have, Margot Robbie. Quit being a baby. And honestly, in my opinion, Margot Robbie kind of owes David Ayer because David Ayer made her the success that she is. Her role as Harley definitely led her to Barbie. So I think there's a professional courtesy for Margot Robbie. So Margot Robbie, quit being a whiny little bitch and just agree for your likeness to be used for this movie and get your free money. This isn't AI. And, maybe, this stream already mentioned, defended Ezra Miller. This stream's already controversial. So who cares I called her a little bitch? Because she is being one, if that's really the case. So, mergers aren't happening. Are you saying with Netflix and WBD or just in general with WBD?
I'm going to get broken up and so on. Yeah, that's what I've been hearing Zaslav's going to do is just strip it for parts. Hold my DualShock. What?
Sorry, just going to say real quick. David Ayer got her the role of Harley Quinn. That led to her success. So anyway, sorry, go on.
I am actually, due to the fact that I went through, I think back then, a breakup after 8 years during COVID, and Birds of Prey came out right before the pandemic, and my relationship grew toxic. The reason I think this is tatted on my shoulder, and the emancipation of one Harley Quinn really inspired me to keep going. So I have a fondness. Actually for Wonder Woman 84 too, for that reason. And I know those movies are not liked by this community and most SnyderVerse fans, but I do have a fondness for it. It's a good Harley Quinn movie. It is a fucking travesty of a Birds of Prey movie. I fucking love Barbara Gordon, and they fucking butchered it. I tried to warn Margot Robbie on social media, bitch, do not replace Barbara Gordon with Harley Quinn. And she did it anyways, and the rest is history.
See, that's one of my biggest issues with that movie. Is that one, it never should have been a Birds of Prey movie. Is that Margot Robbie wanted to promote more women, supposedly, but I think it did the exact opposite. Because now you crammed a bunch of women who should have, the Emancipation of Harley Quinn and Birds of Prey should have been separate movies. And I think, honestly, what Margot Robbie could have done to help the cause, just put Black Canary in there and maybe one other Birds of Prey and give them supporting roles.
So call it the fucking Gotham City Sirens. That's what it should have been.
I mean, well, actually, we'll get into that. Actually, what you just said. Basically, make that Emancipation of Harley Quinn and then that can spin off into Birds of Prey with the full Birds of Prey, and then for the sequel to Emancipation of Harley Quinn, that's when you do Gotham Sirens. That's would have been the way to do it, and also I didn't like that every single male character was a bad guy in that movie, so I wasn't a fan of that either. But so that's my thoughts on that. But I guess, Josh, what's your thoughts on this? Can the necessary parties get the return on investment? That's the most important thing.
Of course. I mean, it's nothing for them. I think it's been said by Sin Havoc or somebody that it's like a few million to finish the movie. Like, it's nothing. This is all just ego. This is James Gunn holding it up because he's like, no, I killed that franchise. No, I'm not bringing back that cut that's going to potentially resurrect it after I already did my friends at Marvel a favor, because Thunderbolts is now being shown at Comic-Con, and we got to lift up Thunderbolts because, oh my God, Century's in it. Spoiler alert. Oh my God, Superman ripoff. Suicide Squad fighting the Superman. Where have I seen that before? It's just a fucking sabotage of a successful IP. And now they're pushing the Marvel shit. That pissed me off, sorry.
No, you're absolutely right. But I mean, I guess, but that's the big thing. At the end of the day, is we can get the return on investment can happen very easily. Just the necessary parties need to. And again, Margot, look, and in all seriousness, Margot Robbie needs to. They need to figure this out with Margot Robbie, because it's. I mean, I think there should be some law that they can't. I do think actors should get paid, but I think there should only be a certain degree that they can hold up something like this, because I can respect an actress not wanting to do a role anymore. I can respect that. But I don't respect not trying to block a movie you already filmed from coming out. That I do not respect, because there's other people who worked hard on it. And I mean, most of her films after Ayer's version were flops. But Margot Robbie was still popular as an actress, which led to her role as Barbie. So that's why I'm saying that I think she kind of owes David Ayer.
And we're now seeing that a lot of people, in my opinion, after this award season and everything, they're like, oh my God, Margot Robbie didn't get nominated. I think they're seeing that Ken was more of the star of that pop culture success. Of course, Barbie was, yes, people liked her. And I think she's perfectly cast as that character. I do.
Oh, yeah.
Hated the movie. Hated it. I think Ryan and Margot are perfectly cast. Hated that movie. Thought it was so stupid. So stupid. My nieces loved it. My mom and my aunt loved it. And I tried to watch it again. I told them, I was just, I can't, there's no reason for this movie. It doesn't make sense, but whatever. $1 billion. But there's a lot of movies, like, I guess you can call Joker. Newsflash. I don't know if Sky is still watching. I know he doesn't like Joker slander, but I fucking hate that movie. So I know Todd Phillips is a friend of Zack Snyder, and I learned that, and I was like, okay, cool. But that is a bastardization of the character of Joker, in my personal opinion. We'll have to debate that another time.
Yeah, we'll debate that another time because I have my opinions on that. But yeah, Barbie film wasn't that good, and I wish it flopped because I think it would have put Margot Robbie in a more desperate situation. But hopefully they can work that out. And hopefully Margot Robbie, because again, the reason why I called her being a little bitch, because I think she is, because there's other people on the line, and I think she professionally owes David Ayer. I do. So that's why I'm being so harsh on her for that. I mean, if there's more information that comes out afterwards, we can have that conversation. I'll retract that little bitch statement. But for now, that's what she is. So anyways, though, I think we can agree that this is a very easy return on investment for Warner Brothers, especially if they just sell it. And Netflix can definitely get a lot of views because Will Smith is popular, Jared Leto's popular, Margot Robbie's popular, and the Studio Squad did well. So I'm just saying, if Justice League can turn into a success from Zack Snyder's Justice League, an even more successful movie can. So, last topic before we wrap up. Jared Leto, can he be in the SnyderVerse? So, I mean, other than the Ayer cut. I guess, Josh, what's your thoughts on this? Do you think that Jared Leto could be in the SnyderVerse?
Of course. I mean, this man, whether you like him or not, still working in Hollywood. Like I said at the meet and greet, even though they prefaced us, I couldn't ask them any sell questions because the security told us, hey, we know Jared's an actor. However, when he's on tour, we don't talk about acting. This is 100% artist, concert, Q&A.
That's good, honestly.
So, and the first thing he comes out and he's like, yeah, so I was just in Mexico. I was filming Tron Ares. I was like, so he's filming in between shows. I don't know if he threw his back out because of the Tron. Like he never clarified. He does like to rock climb in his spare time, but he was just like flying in between his tour dates to Mexico, and you can see set pictures of him in Tron Ares. He's a busy man, you know, and he's still booked and busy. Whether you like him or not, you're not a fan of his performances, he's a staple and he's in the Hollywood system. Oscar award-winning actor. All of these cast members, Will Smith, Ben Affleck, like, you know, Viola Davis, like these characters that this cast is, that's what we're fighting for, I think, with #Cell, right? Like this cast is just so amazing that Zach and David and everyone put together. And the alchemy of it is just beautiful. And we're just trying to just get our fucking finish. That's it. We're not trying to get this universe to keep going and going and going, because Zach always had an end goal, an end game. Justice League 3, where everyone, good, bad, civilians, heroes, villains, Justice League, Suicide Squad, the world becomes a Justice League. Because they are inspired by this man of steel with an S on his chest that gives them hope. That's all we're trying to get. But some co-heads of DC Studios, oh no, I already killed that franchise. Now I'm trying to kill another one. Let me kill this one, please.
And, you know, and I know there's some contrary opinion in this chat. All opinions are welcome, but we're not debating every little thing. We firmly believe that we are going to get ZSJL 2 and 3. We firmly believe that that's going to happen as an Elseworld. We're not going to go full details because that's a whole nother stream we covered that I've covered before on this channel. But I do want to make it clear for the Margot Robbie thing, because I see people arguing that, is that the thing is, actors, when their likeness is in a movie, they have to agree to it. That's the thing. So yes, Margot Robbie does have power, unfortunately, because her likeness is in that movie. She has to sign off on it for that reason. So, and no hold my DualShock, definitely do not. But
I guess,
and yes,
Beck Benham or Bennett and from SNL maybe.
And to answer your question, Justice League is canon to the DCU. Okay, the Zack Snyder's Justice League is its own separate IP. The only thing that is definitely SnyderVerse is Man of Steel, Batman v Superman, Dawn of Justice Ultimate Edition, and Zack Snyder's Justice League. That is why. So, I mean, they literally redid Aquaman 2. Wait, she doesn't hold the cards for the Ayer cuts?
Oh, yeah. The real life, the real life 3-way of Deadshot, Harley, and Joker, I think, spilled onto, yeah.
Okay, well, you know, Margot Robbie, if there's some actual personal issues like that you don't like about, I do apologize for that little bitch comment. I will say that. If there's some real legitimate stuff that's not about your performance, I do apologize. I will say that, because I do. That's a little bit more fair, and I can admit when I'm wrong. Like I said with Ezra Miller, I can admit when I'm wrong. But at the end of the day, in terms of Jared Leto, and I'm just talking about new projects, okay? Nothing that's, yes, obviously he's in ZSJL. Zach chose to use him. So he is in ZSJL. But I think, again, at the end of the day with Jared Leto, it's scheduling. At the end, because Zack Snyder's cast, people are loyal to Zack Snyder. I think he commands a lot more loyalty than the average director. So it's just scheduling and time. And here's the thing. People make time for what's important to them. That's life. So if this is important to Jared Leto, he'll find a way to do it. And I do think he would, if we get the Batfleck movie, I do think we would need him for that, for at least the flashbacks. Because I think if we get Death of Robin stuff, I think I'd rather see that in the Batfleck movie than ZSJL 2 and 3. Because ZSJL 2 will have flashbacks likely to the before destroyed timeline, before the timeline got destroyed. So
Zach knew what he was doing by calling it Zack Snyder's Justice League. He knew what he was doing. And he knew this would all come to pass.
Exactly. And, you know, even the Flash movie, even though the Flash movie does conserve the Snyderverse canon, it's not part of that IP. I think we just got that. Well, I mean, again, the reason why is because, again, Justice League is canon because those certain movies came out with Justice League in mind as canon. That's why. ZSJL is its own separate canon. So we've already explained that. We're not going to beat a dead horse. But I think at the end of the day, with Jared Leto, I think it's just scheduling conflict at the end of the day. It's like, I think Netflix can figure out the budget. I think Netflix will figure that out. But I do think Jared Leto will come back for Zack Snyder. I do believe that. Because I think Zack Snyder does a lot of less recasting than the average director will. I think Zack Snyder is very big about not recasting. And besides, because here's the thing, when Jared Leto signed up to be the Joker, he signed up for something that would set up sequels. So
there was going to be a spin-off movie of Joker and Harley Quinn at one point. Mad Love. That. Margot Robbie.
Yes, he did help with the first Wonder Woman movie, but again, that's when they were sticking with the SnyderVerse. So, and with the IP being with it being a separate IP, it's not SnyderVerse IP. So, anyway, but at the end of the day, again, it's just scheduling for Jared Leto. I think if he is available, he can do it. Obviously, this is not like Ezra Miller where there's other issues with that. Jared Leto's not. I mean, I know people are trying to cancel him, but it's nowhere near the way they try to cancel Ezra Miller. So I think absolutely we can get Jared Leto. I guess anything else you want to say about this topic, Josh?
Jared needs his performance to be seen. If you didn't like it in Studio Squad, I understand. And you probably have no motivation to want to see it in Ayer cut. But at least let the people who do know what a good actor that Jared is and what he's capable of. Let them at least see this. Hey, there's a chance that I'm going to put it out there. I told you, I loved Studio Squad. There's a chance I could see the Ayer cut and not like it. Possibly. But let me see it. Let me decide. So, hashtag ZSJ on Netflix. Hashtag SnyderVerse Netflix. Let's go.
Well said, Josh. Well said. And I like what Sin Havoc says. And now, just before we wrap up, anything we missed, because there is one thing I want to say too. I think Lethal Geek showed this in one of their episodes, but when they were showing the Snyder Cut being in another country on Netflix, one of the first clip they show, I'm saying this is the first clip they showed a clip with Ben Affleck and Ezra Miller. I'm just saying, Ezra Miller's not the star of this movie. Ezra Miller is a cast member of this movie. Out of all the clips that could have had to be a first shown, why are they showing Ezra Miller? Why not just show? There's plenty of other scenes they could show, but they showed Ben Affleck and Ezra Miller.
Dan, you went to this WB Studios tour. Do you remember I talked about how there's a video package where they do the retrospective 100 years and they show Zack Snyder's Justice League front and center? Did you see that video that I was talking about? Where you see the Trinity, you see Zack Snyder's Justice League, several clips, and it's not Justice League. Even they fucking know what to use to retrospectively recap their 100 years in Hollywood. They're not using Justice League. They're using the good shit.
Because DeLuca and Abdi, heads of Warner Brothers, support Zack Snyder. It's just that DC Studios is now separate from WB Pictures. So,
but yeah, Zack stuff. You saw Zack stuff was everywhere. Merchandise,
We're talking about when we say SnyderVerse, that means mainly ZSJL 2 and 3, and we're talking the Ayer cut as well. And, again, I keep saying this, but we don't want to get into a whole separate debate just because that's a whole separate topic. But basically, Warner Brothers Discovery is broke and they need money. And the thing with ZSJL, the thing is just a 5-movie arc. That's the main component of the SnyderVerse. And yes, we're asking for it all. And the Ayer cut's already filmed, so that should be able to happen too. But at the end of the day, it's not like we're asking for a whole cinematic universe the way it was going to be. So, thank you for stopping by, and we're pretty much almost done anyway. So, I guess, Josh, anything you want to say that we missed on, like anything that we wanted to say earlier?
I just wanted, once again, connect the dots between Zack Snyder, people not understanding his art, trying to cancel him. I want to connect the dots to Ben Affleck, people trying to cancel him. Of course, all the headlines coming out with him in J-Lo now. People are trying to say that he's the toxic one, he's the one, and how many marriages has he had, and how many marriages has he? I'm just saying. Same with Henry when he made comments about dating these days, tried to cancel Henry Cavill, tried to cancel Jason Momoa, all the stuff he's going through with his wife, Lisa Monet, Ezra Miller. We just talked about all that. Ray Fisher speaking out for justice on behalf of other people. People try to cancel Ray Fisher. Gal Gadot, because of who she is and what obligation she has to her country. Trying to cancel her from being a Zionist. What the fuck? Like,
even though she said she wanted peace on both sides, which should not be controversial, but we won't.
Like, there's just so much connectivity and so much similarities, in my opinion, between these cast members and Zack Snyder. And it sucks that we as fans have to defend our cast, that we're just trying to let them have their finished full arc. And then that's it. But it's okay. We stand with you. United. They've never fought us before. Not us united.
Well said, Josh. Well said. And thank you for coming on. Thank you for coming on this show. I guess any just final thoughts you want to give, and just what do you have coming up?
I will probably be away. I'll be helping Mom a lot in the coming weeks. So thank you, Bat Dan, for working around my schedule and squeezing this in. I know this was a long time coming stream, and I'm glad. I think it is. Like, shout out to you. Like I said, you wanted to do the stream defending Ezra blindly, not knowing that this retraction of Chase Iron Eyes was coming. So that's balls. That's cojones, as Joker says. But now you're vindicated by doing the stream now, because, hashtag Ezra is innocent. Ezra Miller is innocent. So I think we're going to see more of Ezra in the years coming. He's focusing on music and propelling, others right now. So shout out to him for being a loyal friend, and shout out to Jared for an amazing experience. I'll never forget on stage with you. 30 Seconds to Mars. Robin loves Joker.
And thank you, Andre, for always showing support for our panel. Always appreciated. And
thank you so much.
And, just my final thoughts, again, I thank you, Josh, for coming on. I'm really happy to do the stream to defend Ezra Miller. Another quick thought. If you're going to saying that this grooming allegation turned out to be false, so maybe you should start questioning this other stuff more. Just going to put that out there. But anyways, I don't want to keep this stream going on too long. But at the end of the day, that's why I did the stream. I did the stream for justice, because how can I support a new Justice League cast when a new Justice League movie when a real injustice happened to one of the actors? And I do what's right, even if it's hard. And I wanted to talk about Jared Leto in the Ayer cut too, because I think that's another important part of the SnyderVerse. And I think our friends Hold My DualShock had their opinion, and we kind of want to say our piece on it. So thank you, Josh, for coming on and doing this kind of double stream with me, because I think both Ezra Miller and Jared Leto are essential for the SnyderVerse. They are essential components of the SnyderVerse, and I'm really glad I did the stream. Guys, just do your research when it comes to Ezra Miller. Just don't blindly hate something. And Ayer cut's filmed, so no reason to not want that. So, and coming up on this channel, I will do a Rebel Moon Part 2 watch party, and 300 is now on Netflix too. Zack Snyder 300 is on Netflix, so expect a watch party for that too. Got to keep that cell engagement going. And I'll try to do a Batman Cape Crusader review. I'm saying try because, a shorter video have to edit and have to rewatch the series now. So, but anyway, guys, if you like this video, please like, share, subscribe, hit the notification bell for more unique takes, interesting thoughts, and sometimes even controversial discussions such as these. And thank you, Sin Havoc. Sell is the way. That includes the Ayer cut. Any final words, Josh?
Hashtag sell is the way.
Have a bat-tastic day.